Join discord.gg/flat earth and enter a VC check-in room, and someone will come along to VC verify you to get involved with the conversation about our Earth.
Enemy spotted.
Fuzzball.
Should all be tuned in.
Great. All right, so we're speaking to Fuzzball here. And Fuzzball, I'm not too clear on what point you're actually trying to make here. So do you want to restate it to the room and then CB can finish off, or someone else if they want?
It's not clear why in celestial navigation, north is preferred as the, I guess, center of the room and south is not.
I'm gonna try and dig up this example from this anime show, but I would prefer, like, if you want to make that example, if you want to say, yeah, we can use south as the center, I want an example of that.
I have an example of north in the center. I mean, that would be
on
equal footing as yours.
I mean, the fact that you can't think of one example where the south would be the center, that means every other example either use north as the center, and then to go away from that north, you'd be going south, and going around that northern point gives you your east and your west. That's just, I'll post an example in the chat there. It's just how it works.
And the reverse works just as well.
It would in theory, just not in reality. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. The only time I can even think of someone presenting that as the case is from an anime I just watched recently. That was quite good. But I'm still asking you to give me the only example I can think of is from a show. I'm asking you, you've given me crickets. I think
also,
not an analogy.
Also, Fuzzball, the compass points north.
We're not talking about compasses, though. We're talking about celestial navigation.
No, we're not. We're just talking about direction.
We were talking about direction, right? Why is north? Why would north be considered the center? Well, when we travel east or west, the compass points north, and we have to correct for north. So we go in a circle around north when we're traveling east to west.
I mean,
Pretty simple.
You can make a circle around the south. I don't. It's
no, because the compass points north.
You can't.
Well, the compass aligns itself with the magnetic field. That's how a compass works.
Wait a second.
And points north.
A direction.
It points towards magnetic north, right?
Right.
Right.
I mean,
so there you go.
It points towards both poles. It has to align itself. That's the only way that metals can.
Right. Well, this still sounds like a very. I mean, I don't understand what point you're trying to make. Are you trying to make an argument in favor of the globe?
I'm not trying to make an argument. I'm trying to understand how celestial navigation works on a flat surface.
Okay. Well, celestial navigation is different from you not understanding north and south. Celestial navigation requires elevation angles, which requires a horizontal, which you don't have on a sphere.
You can draw a tangential line anywhere on a sphere you want.
Not on the no, you can't. You don't have a horizontal on the surface of a sphere, which is where you are.
Yeah, you can draw one. It's not.
You're gonna need a tangent point, aka geometric horizon, for that one. Got one of those?
Yeah, let's keep it more direct to this. rather than
can you
that.
not draw a tangential line on a sphere? I mean, I'm a little confused.
Well, I know you are a little confused. We're trying to teach you how south would work, but I mean, if you feel like you've got,
I want to know how north is different than south, like functionally.
It's not the same. Didn't Wolfgang just told you we use
traveling north and traveling south is the same, right?
No, they're not the same.
They're not the same. So they follow different rules. Following north versus following south.
Could you be a little more specific? I gave you some examples in like a real world example. So what do you mean they're different? So if we go back to the room, how are they the same? When one's the location and one's any direction away from that location. So they're not the same.
I mean, I can take your room example, right? And just switch the poles, right? Have south in the center, have north on the edges, and it would work just as well. Right.
Okay, but again, they're not the same though. If you wanted to quote go north, in your example where it's opposite, which is fine, I guess, even though it doesn't really work in reality. And you haven't
But
given
even
an
if we let you
example
beg
of
the
that in
question,
reality.
even if we let him say that, right? So we let you say that, fuzzball. Okay, now how do we get to Earth being a spinning globe?
We're not there yet.
Yeah, I know. So how do we get there? That's where you want to go. Take us with you.
Okay. I mean, you have to at least, I mean, admit that going north and going south works the same, right?
No.
No, I wouldn't necessarily, but I'm saying, let's say I give you that. How do you get us to a spinning ball?
The fact that you can use either celestial pole to find your cardinal directions and go where you need to go.
Right, where's the curve? Where's the rotation of the spinning ball?
I mean,
Because
the
we're just
rotation
on the,
has nothing to do with this.
we're still just on an observably flat surface, and you're telling us it's actually a curved surface. How are you getting us there?
I have not told you anything about curved surfaces.
No, but you are by arguing that Earth's a ball.
And by claiming a tangent line, you're also invoking a curve.
Navigation works.
Yeah, you were saying you can get a tangent line from a sphere. We're saying, okay, let's try and figure out if we're on a sphere to then see if we could have a tangent line on a sphere. But you've not got us on the sphere yet. That's what we need to see. Anyway, I have to jump. Keep it along these lines, yeah? Actually, Earth is supposed to be a spinning ball, they're telling us. They're telling all the kids in school. Let's prove that. Okay, have a good one. I'll listen in.
So I don't understand why north is special and south is not. Like why north gets to have a point and a pole, but
It's not-
south is like
It's not about
everywhere.
special. It's just what even you gave the example of if you swapped it, one would be a location and one would be in any direction away from that. So you already understand that. You're just being
Right.
difficult and swapping
He
them
also
for no reason.
he's
But I'm
also
not being difficult.
projecting, bro. You also kind of talking about north, like this, the celestial north and geographical north on the ground are the same thing. You're saying you see you're going north based on what? On what? On navigation, right? Horizontal lines. Trying you make an
Well, we're
sextant
using the north celestial pole.
celestial pole. So you're saying that you look into the sky to the celestial pole and do
That's
what?
what celestial navigation is. You go
It,
towards the celestial pole, and that's the direction that north is. And it works the same in the south. You go towards celestial south, and you keep going that way. That's how you can navigate in the south without Polaris. You don't need Polaris to go south. You understand?
you don't need Polaris to go south. You triangulate the position based on the position of the luminaries and using the coordinates, right? The charts, the Cartesian coordinates. You can triangulate your position and know where you are based on the positions of the luminaries, right? But you need a horizontal line for that. You can't get a horizontal line on the globe.
You can draw a tangential line, and it'll work just as well. I don't see the problem.
I found that example I was looking for. It's only like 14 seconds. Let's take a quick listen.
The fog's so thick I can't see through it. We got to the village by heading south. If what Holko says is the truth, I should go south to reach Hodai, the center of the island.
That's the only example I can think of where they're talking about the south as a central point. But you seem like you understand that in either case, if you have this plane, if you will, one of them will be a location and the other would be anywhere away from that location. So you already understand that. So just stop being difficult at this point.
I understand that part. It's just
Okay,
that
well, good.
that
Let's move
part
on. So let's move. Let's move
your
past
analogy
that.
doesn't translate into real life, is what I'm saying.
It does, though. It does because we don't have a quote South Pole. That's the point that I was trying.
The South Pole,
Yes, correct,
but we have a North Pole.
correct.
How do you know that one is the pole and one is not?
You already understand that, so you're just being difficult at this
I
point.
I don't understand that. You said North is a pole, so which pole?
There's only one, and you already understand that. You gave the example of, well, why not just put the South in the center? Then even in your example, you understand that one of them would be a location, a quote point, and the other would be anything away from that, not a location, not a certain point. So if the South was the center, in your example, we can't go to a point or a location called North. You understand? Only one of them would be a quote pole.
Correct. Which is why neither of those work.
No.
Neither of them
No, they
translate to real
do.
life.
They do. Just not your example.
Why?
Look at a
just
magnet.
not my
Let's
example,
look
and
at
your
let's look at a
example?
magnet.
It's
I don't
not.
know a lot about magnets, but I'm pretty sure you can have a magnet where.
With one pole, a magnet.
Well, let me just double check.
Called a magnetic monopole. They've never been seen.
It's not possible to produce a permanent magnet with only a single pole. Every magnet has two poles. Okay, fair enough. I can be wrong about that, but at least it does apply to reality. I gave you the example of a room, right? So you would consider the center point North. So that's a real world example. Your example
like I said,
isn't
my
really
real
somewhat
world
something in the world.
example is South in the center of the room.
Where, no,
and
but
North
what's
in
the real world example though?
What?
So I gave you
Alright,
an example of an
what is
island from an anime. So what's
what
your
is the real
example?
world example of North in the center?
I gave you a room with a pole in the center.
And that example is not any more valid than South in the center, like I said. You can just flip it and it's the same thing.
So, but in that, it doesn't really, you haven't really given an example though, but
It's the same example as
even
yours.
still, you understand that, well, my example, there's not an example in real world I can think of where we call center South. That's why I'm trying to challenge you to think of something that's I've given you multiple examples. One's from a
just gave you
show,
an
one's in
example
reality. No,
for
you
South
didn't.
Center.
You just flipped what I said and called it an example.
Because that's the same thing that you said.
But I'm asking you though,
the
that's
same concept.
something in real world that you would use to consider South as a central point. I'm asking, like, where in reality would you do that? If you were building a house, or constructing a business, or making a football field, or something like that. Like, what is an example where you use? All right, guys, we're gonna mark X marks the spot here. This is South, and then proceed from there. I can't think of one. I gave you an example from an anime show.
I can't think of an example where North
But
is
you're
used
trying to,
as a center for construction.
brother. The fact that you can't think of an example where South is the center means that every other example is North as the
No, I
center.
said North.
That's every example. Every other example, because you can't come up with one where South is the center. I gave you one example from an anime show. But that means that the only reason that stood out is interesting because that's not something that you typically would think of. If you're on an island and you want to go to the center of the island,
I mean,
you'd be going towards the center, and you consider the southern point. Sorry?
Why would you typically think that North would be in the center?
Because the opposite is kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Why is the opposite ridiculous? Like you're not.
Because you can't even give me a real world example where that would be the case.
The same example that you gave.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
Okay, so
It's not a real world example where we say, all right, you're just saying that it's a hypothetical.
Well, so is your
and where you
example.
just
It's a
flipped.
hypothetical.
Okay, listen. It's pretty clear at this point. I don't want to annoy the panel, but you're not able to come up with an example where this is in reality.
It's the same example that you gave me.
Brother, I don't know why you're being difficult at this point. We already kind of covered this. You understand that in at least this case, there can only be one, quote, pole. So that's the original point here. There's only one pole,
Let's
not
go
two.
with your example for a little bit, and let's try to see like where you're not getting this, because
It's
at a
not.
certain
Trust me,
point,
it's not
at a
me.
certain
It's
point,
not
you
me.
can
Hold on.
no
I'm gonna play the clip one more time, just so where everyone's clear. It's only 14
at a certain
seconds. Here
point
it
you
is.
can no longer see the center, right?
The
You can no
fog's
longer
so
have a
thick I
reference
can't see
point.
through it. We got to the village by heading south. If what Holko says is the truth, I should go south to reach Hodai, the center of the island.
So I thought that was really interesting. The reason why I recorded it was I was like, it made me raise an eyebrow. When have you ever treated the center of something as south? I can see how you would maybe think about that if you were on an island, but I think most people would consider the center of the island as your northern point, and then the beaches around, say, the center of the island would you consider south. And if you wanted to go east and west, you'd be making circles around that island. Okay?
Can I ask what this discussion is about?
Well, the original point is that there is only one, quote, pole. There's no, say, south pole. There's no location called the south. So that's kind of how this all started, is that trying to help him understand that he's saying, oh, well, north, why is it special? It's not special. It's just only one of them is a, quote, point or a location.
Well, why is that though? Like, why is
Giving
like
you
how do
so
you
many
determine
examples at
that?
this point. I've given you
No,
so many
you did not
examples.
give. You gave me the one example, and I gave you the same example, but south in the center.
So at least you're able to understand that one of them, only one of them can be a quote pole.
Of course, but like if you're
So
going north south,
don't
they
be
have to
difficult
follow.
at this point.
They have to follow different rules, though. You understand? Like if you're
Duh.
going
That's
north
all
versus
I'm
south.
saying. If your
So
back
I'm
is to the
asking you, like,
center and you go away from that, say in a quote straight line, now
why
you're
going
going away
north
from
is
that.
why going north has different rules than going south.
They're not different rules. Why are you saying
You
that?
just said that they were different rules.
Like, what do you mean though? If we go back to the room example, what's different then exactly? In terms of what you physically actually do, what is different?
In a room, I mean, you're going towards
Because same with east and west. East and
a
west are the
reference
same as
point,
well. You're making
and
circles.
we have to designate a reference point. I mean, is there a ceiling fan in the middle of the room or something? Is there something?
Well, we already gave that example, so
go
I don't want to have to repeat the example multiple times. Clearly the panel's
You
frustrated.
never were clear about your example.
I typed it in the chat. Couldn't be more clear. We have a room with a fireman's pole. How many times do we have to say it?
Okay, so the fireman's pole. So
So that's the center of the room. Okay, are we good so far?
So that's assuming that you can see the
It's not
pole,
about the
no matter
visibility.
how
So
far away
you're
you
just
are.
being difficult at this point.
I'm just trying to understand your example.
You're like, wait, what? We can't see the center. Like, come on, dude. This is
Well,
ridiculous.
on the Earth, you can't see Polaris after you go below the equator. So
No, but we're
and
not
any
not
type of
just
Earth you
looking.
want.
We're trying to help you understand directions on a plane. You're
Well, you can't
struggling.
go south if you don't know where north is, right?
We already have this quote center being the north.
But if you can't see the center, how do you know?
You don't need to
where north
see the center.
So we don't need to see the center.
I'm
Then
just
how
trying to
do
help
we-
you understand that south is not a location.
But I can just say north is not a location, and
Then
south is the
we're
location.
so then what location would the south be then? The North Pole?
It'd be the south pole.
So then where would north be in that case?
In
If
the
it's not
case-
another pole, where would that be?
It would be on the walls. The north
How do
would
we
be on
tie
the
that back
walls.
to reality? In reality.
It doesn't tie to reality.
Well, so then why are you pushing so hard for this example when it doesn't? It's not
Because
analogous whatsoever.
Your example doesn't tie to
Of
reality.
course it
either.
is. No, of course it is. We
It's
have the
same
quote
example.
North Pole. What are you talking about?
Both of them are just as likely as each other.
No, they're
Understand me?
not. No, they're clearly
There's
not.
There's a point in we have
No,
a south
there's-
celestial pole and a north celestial pole.
Talking
They
about
both exist in
terrestrially
reality.
on the ground. Okay,
Well, how
that's
are you going to
I've
see
been
the
making that
ground?
example this whole time. You're on the ground. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but
Focus, dude. Focus. I'm talking about we've got a room with 4 walls and a central point.
Okay.
So, not to just go, why I'm not sure why you're being so difficult. It's a really simple example. Of course, that is
just
that is
using
the
the same
example
example.
in reality.
That's
You
not
have your
in reality.
center
That's
point.
your
Yes,
analogy.
okay. Let's go into reality then. What would you consider the quote center if it's not the way you see it? If it's a plane,
The
let's call that center
center of what?
the Earth.
Like the center of a sphere.
No. I'm saying if obviously we're not. We're making the case that it's not that. So if it's not that,
I mean, a
what
center
we're
and midway point between north and south. Like the equator, are you talking about?
man, this is really challenging for you, huh? Let me post
No,
another screenshot. I
I
posted it in the
understand how
chat. Let me
celestial
repost it.
navigation works.
I'm not. We're not even talking
Don't
about
get it, how it-
celestial navigation, brother. We're
That's
talking about
exactly
just
what we're talking about.
terrestrially the ground. No, we're not. We
I
haven't
was
even
asking
invoked
you about
terrestrial.
celestial navigation.
We're talking about directions on a plane.
You get your directions from the stars, right? And celestial navigation.
All right, so I've reposted my chat, my screenshot, my little drawing there, my Picasso in the chat. So this isn't evoking anything in the sky. We're to tie this to reality. Go outside. We can all agree there's probably, I wouldn't say, I don't know if it's the quote center. I think we can agree that all the north. Can we agree on that so far?
I agree on what?
Holy dude.
So you'll be using straight lines to acquire elevation angles for celestial navigating, right?
Wait, sorry, say that again.
You'll be using straight lines? Or you still on something? Sorry about that.
No, he's just doing the whole I don't speak English thing. No.
Oh, yeah. I know speak no English. Yeah, so straight lines, you're going to be using those to acquire elevation angles in celestial navigation, right?
Sure.
Correct. Okay, so where's the curve come into this?
We're talking about celestial navigation on the flat Earth.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
I don't get it. So Fuzz, why would that's what I asked you. Is like you already agree that there is a North Pole. So why are you saying things that you don't agree with?
I mean, why did you
This is
say
what I'm
that?
saying. You're being difficult. That's what I'm saying. You're just being.
Oh, why is there no
That's what
South
you're
Pole?
doing.
You haven't
We're
given me.
trying to help explain that to you. We can go over it again. That's no problem.
It works just as well as the North Pole. Like, why is it
Just not
not
reality.
a pole? What do you mean non-reality?
Because I'm asking you to give me
take
an
that
example where you
celestial-
use south as a center point. Just give me one example in reality. Give me one.
Okay, give me one example in reality.
But see, no, see, I want you to give me an example because you're making a case for this. You're pushing hard, saying no, no, we can use the South as the center. So give me an example in real world, something
not
specific that you
my
would use.
argument. That's your argument.
Then stop making that argument. Then
It's
because
your
that's what
argument. I'm
you're pushing.
asking you to support your argument
I
that
already have.
in the center
I already
and
have.
south is not. I mean,
I already have. I made it more. I drew it. I gave you examples. I
you
played
can
the
draw it,
clips.
but that doesn't
What?
explain why north is the center and south is not.
Well, you already understand that either way, only one of them can be a quote location. You got that so far?
Of course.
Okay, so then why are you why are you struggling against that?
I'm I'm not struggling against that. I understand what your example entails.
So then that's
asking
why I'm
why
asking you. That's why I'm asking
asking
you. Okay,
why
now
you
let's
choose
take
north.
your understanding
It's just
that there.
arbitrary, right?
Let's just take your understanding that. So you understand that
In the center.
there's. Hold on. Well, we can't say that. I don't, now you're just being even more ridiculous. So,
But
because I
mean,
so
you
now
can
we
name it
understand that
anything
there's
you want.
only.
It could be north,
No,
south,
you can't call it
south.
west or east.
But why is north the center and south is not?
Because there is no example that I can think of where we say, all right, X marks the spot. This is the center. We're going to call this south. Unless you can give me one. I've given you, like, I don't know, we've been on this for like 35 minutes, 45 minutes.
Drawing here and just type south where you have north.
I know. See, listen. You're being difficult, brother. You're being really difficult. Because I already played a clip where they've done that exactly. So now I'm asking you, and that's from an anime show, right? So I'm asking you, why don't we take that, your example, the thing you're pushing for? You're saying, no, we can use south as a center. That's what you're saying.
Well,
That's
I'm not
what
saying
you're
that.
pushing. Well, then stop saying it then. Why don't you just stop saying
valid.
it? No,
Hold on,
it's not valid. It's not valid. Because if you're not making the case for that, you're saying, I'm not saying that, then stop saying it. Because I don't agree with that. There's no real world example of that. And I'm not making the case that the South is the center. Only you're saying that.
If north and
So if
south
that's not your
are
case,
not
then just
different,
stop. Just stop being difficult.
north and south are not different, there should be
No, they
no
are
problem.
different. They are different. I don't.
How are they?
Well, listen. I've already went over this with you several times. I asked you, okay, if you're saying they're different, if we go back to my room example, what are you physically doing that is quote different? I want you to tie this into reality so I can help understand. You're saying no, they're different or they're the same. What do you mean?
How
And then
is
this is where you go radio silent.
you're finally giving me a chance to respond.
So, but I've asked you this multiple times. You still haven't answered. You're not answering quite. You're
You
just
asked
tap dancing. I'll ask it again very clearly. You're you're challenging that they either should be the same or different somehow. And I'm saying clearly they're different. If one of them is a location and one of them's not, by definition they're different. And then so well, clearly if one of them is a location, you can travel to that spot.
Okay, why is
Then that's clearly different than not being able to travel to a quote spot, right?
I mean, regardless of you can travel towards it, right? Regardless of whether it is spot, right?
But
And
when you
go
say
to
it,
spot,
right?
why,
It being if we're saying it being the outside, then that's not a quote location. And again, I'm talking terrestrially, on the ground.
Why is the north a location?
I'm not pointing up in the sky.
Well,
So, but listen, why do you keep making that case? I want you to stop bringing that up. Because if you're not making a case for that, if that's not your point, if you're not saying it, then why do you continue to say it? You're drilling on like, well, no, the South can be the center. Why do you keep saying that? I don't agree with that. You clearly don't agree with that. So why are you making a case for that?
why are you making the case that the north is the center?
That's the only example. That's the only other realistic example. You can't think of any other example where that's not the case,
How is it realistic?
except from an anime.
How is it realistic for north to be the center? Like,
Because you can't even give me one example where that's not the case.
I just gave you the example where south.
No,
is the
no,
center.
you didn't. No, dude, no.
What do you mean,
That
no?
example comes from a freaking anime show. That's not reality. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't apply it to reality and say, okay, I built this house, and in the center we call it south, and then every direction away from that is north. You can't think of an example that's in reality.
Then you said in reality, where north is the center, and how do you
Yes.
go south without knowing where north is?
What do you mean without knowing where north is?
Well, how do you
This
know
is
where
just
north
being
is?
difficult again.
What is your reference point for knowing where north is? When you're traveling south,
In terms of what?
turn around, right? Turn around from south.
From
How do you know where north
from
is?
wait, hold on. You got to be a little bit more specific. Are we outside? Because you
No,
got to be more
we're
specific
outside.
where your
No
example
rooms,
is.
no rooms,
So
no
now we're outside. Where outside on your Earth or what?
on the earth.
Being what? Curved?
What do you mean, meaning what?
Because we can all agree on what a room is, but you and I don't agree what the Earth is doing.
How do you look towards the north?
I don't care about looking, brother. So I'm trying to give you these simple examples of a room, and you're like, well, no, the south can be a spot too. No, it can't.
Navigating, or you just kind of walk in a direction and you assume that's north? Like, I don't. How do you know where north is?
I think we both agree where north is, and I think you have a compass that probably works
We're
to
not talking
point
about
towards north too, right?
currently. But
Huh?
besides, without compasses, like thousands of years
What do you
ago.
mean? What do you mean? Well, first of all, first you're saying, well, what do we just blindfold? And then you saying you can't use a
You didn't-
compass?
you
So
didn't tell me
what the hell is going on?
We're talking about celestial navigation, right?
No, we're not. I haven't invoked
What do you mean
celestial
we're not?
navigation this entire time. You keep saying that, but I'm trying to teach you how directions work.
Well, we can't
But I haven't
navigate.
engaged on celestial navigation.
How do you know what direction you're facing then?
In terms of what? Because you're jumping out of this. I gave you a simple example of a room in an island. Now you're jumping over to like, well, now we're celestial navigating.
Okay, well,
Brother, I don't.
island.
You're still trying to figure out that south,
We can
whether south is a
do a room in
location.
an island. We can do an island. So,
Well,
how do
you're gonna have to be more specific about that. Though.
okay, an island in the southern hemisphere. How do you see where north is? Below the equator. Doesn't have
What?
to be hemispheric, be Hamel plane.
What
How-
is seeing things like? Why do I have to see
Well, you
north?
need to navigate, right? You need your eyes to navigate, right?
But even in the way you see things, you don't think that you have to see north to navigate it.
I do.
So no, you don't.
I do think you need to see north. I think
The,
you also
the
need to see
north,
south
the
to
this.
navigate to it.
Well, you're okay. Well, I'm talking terrestrially. You're talking about celestially.
Well, how do you know terrestrially?
Because, brother, holy smoke, you're bouncing all around like crazy.
It's a simple question, man.
Well, first we were on an island in a room, and now you're invoking the sky. So when you're in a room, you're obviously not staring at the ceiling to try and figure out where the center point is.
Well,
Nor is that necessary.
how do you know where the center point is?
It's the center.
Of an island.
What do you mean?
It's just the center.
Okay, well, clearly, if you have an island and we're going to dub the center, wherever that may be, if there's an X in the marks the spot, whatever, we know that the shore of the island would be south, right? So if we want to travel north, listen, focus. What we do know is, say, if we're on the shore, now we're on the southern part of the island. If we wanted to go east and west, we travel in circles around the island. So to go north, we'd have to go closer to the center. You don't have to, quote, see it to get there.
Why are we assuming the island is the center?
Oh my god. Either way, whether you want to do your weird flip it upside down thing, there is going to be a center point of the island. Would you not agree?
It's totally arbitrary.
What? That's the whole thing we're talking about right now. What are you talking about? Oh my god. That's the entire point of what we're talking about.
Any other topic you guys want to move to, or anything else? Like, you have any other questions, or the other guy?
Jemsy,
We also
help
have.
carry it forward, Jemsy. I don't know. What's the problem?
Well, that's why I
Help
was
him out.
saying that he. I mean, I don't even know what the question is. We're lost into the weeds. Sounds to me.
He's struggling on how directions work.
No,
So,
I
Yeah.
perfectly
clear.
understand how directions work.
Then why are you saying?
Yeah, but you're
why are you saying-
projecting that into a globe, right? Into a mathematical equation. You're saying we navigate based on this globe, but nobody does that.
I'm trying to ask you how you know where north is.
You
when
just said it was arbitrary 2 seconds
Have you
ago.
ever been
No,
to the
it's
north?
fine
Have
to
you been to the north, sir? Have you been to the north?
Yeah, I've been to Iceland.
You've been to the center of the world, to the top of the ball. You've been there,
No, I haven't been there.
so
But I can know
you don't know where it is, right?
I know how to get there though.
You've seen a projection. You've seen a map that says north right here, right?
I'm not talking about projection then. I'm just talking about celestial navigation. I know how to get to the north point from Iceland.
How do you know that's the center? Or how do you know that's
How do I
north?
know that's it? Because it goes.
See, that's
But
what-
what is your
That's what
you're doing with the island.
Yeah, there is a north. We do navigation around the world. Sure. What is your argument? You're saying what?
Because that's the spot that everything rotates around. Circumpolar stars. They all navigate, or they all circle.
The sky,
around-
right? The sky circles around that celestial north point. You're
that's what
saying the sky rotates around that point?
Yes.
So the sky is moving, rotating around a center point, you're saying. We can observe that.
Yes, we can observe that.
Yeah.
And it does the same thing in the south.
It could. I mean, I haven't been to that spot in the south.
I mean, you don't have
Have you?
You don't have to be on the point to know that it goes towards the point.
Yeah, but what if we observe phenomena of the sky that is doing something? It's doing it, right? And the sky is doing phenomena, and you're coming to what conclusion about that? What is your conclusion that the sky is doing something, and what are you saying about that?
That the sky is symmetrical.
The sky is symmetrical.
Yeah. It rotates like you're on the inside of a jump rope or something like that,
So the sky is moving, and the ground is motionless, right?
I mean, if you want to have that as a reference point, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're standing on the ground. You don't feel any movement of the ground, and if the ground starts moving, you'll feel it, right?
And it really depends. Yeah, if it starts moving, you'll probably feel it. If it wasn't moving,
Yeah.
before.
And then you look up and you see the sky moving every morning. The sun rises, and noon is above your head. Then it moves away from you, and you don't see it anymore. The sky is moving, right?
Sure.
Yeah, the sky is moving. The ground is motionless. What about water? Water, the level of water level, plumb, horizontal, and a vertical. We have that in reality. We reference the horizontal and the vertical in letters or whatever, right? Y axis, XYZ.
Sure.
So that horizontal, does it curves on a geometrical ball? Is that horizontal curving? It's not, right? Because it's horizontal.
The horizon is a circle.
The horizon is a circle around
Yes.
in what? Around you, around the observer?
Around the observer, yes.
Okay, where is the horizon? What is it?
It's just a tangential line. It's totally arbitrary, depending on where you are.
Okay, because if I have better vision than you and we're standing in the same spot, or you have better vision than I do, maybe your horizon is further than my horizon. Is it?
Okay.
Because you can see further than I can.
Okay.
Why do you say it's arbitrary?
What is the length?
Last I checked, it was physical.
Well, is it physical on the globe or?
Yeah, why would it be arbitrary? Because it says based on a random choice rather than any reason or system. It's definitely not claimed to be that. Sorry?
It's based
Oh,
on
just-
the observer's position on a sphere.
But it's a physical thing, though, isn't it?
Well, on the sphere, it's physical, but in
Tangential
reality,
line
it's
is
not, right?
physical.
Oh no, the actual thing that the horizons claim to be is claimed to be physical. You just said it was arbitrary. It's definitely not claimed to be arbitrary.
Not on the globe.
Well, we're talking about two different things.
No, we're talking about the horizon.
Yeah. We're talking about what's outside. You're talking about what's in your imagination.
What? You guys have not made one case for why North should be the center and South should not.
What do you mean, why? We have celestial north, the observation of the
45 minutes
luminaries.
on
You were
that.
talking about that. We don't know why. Like, do you know why something is the way it is? That's the way it is. We can observe
that's
the
certainly
luminaries revolving around a certain point in the sky, right?
What is this
That's the
way?
way it is. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. The ground, whatever, we navigate on a in triangulation, right? Why we use triangles to navigate? Because why? We live on a surface that is a horizontal, right? There's no curve. It's not curving.
That's a nonsense.
Is that why?
Also, well, so is when we were talking about the horizon, you bring up this north-south stuff we talked about maybe for 45 minutes straight and you still didn't figure out. So, yeah, you're right. It is kind of a non sequitur. To
Yeah, it's a non sequitur. I think he's about to step in it. Let him go on. Let's see what he's got to say next. It's a non sequitur, you said. Go on.
Navigation works on flat Earth, and I'm totally lost here because
He said that we're using triangles with straight lines, right, to navigate the horizontal plane outside. You say that's a non sequitur. Can you explain?
I would like to get back to the topic.
You're trying to avoid it right now, though.
Yeah,
You said it was
navigation.
a non-
That's a topic.
Okay, what does this have to do with navigation? Like using a
You said it.
Is that what? What do
That
you
using triangles to navigate a flat plane is non sequitur. Can you elaborate?
Well, like, there's no reason that you would assume that it's flat. Just that you drew a tangential line.
A tangential line, you're going to need a curve for that. Why are you assuming that?
You don't need a curve to draw a tangential line.
Oh, really? So you're not invoking a curve when you say tangent line. So what's a tangent to?
I mean, it's tangent to a curve.
Oh,
So measure an angle off of it. I don't understand.
okay. Show me the tangent point along that curve, please.
What do you mean show you the tangent line?
You're going to need a tangent point to have a tangent line somewhere along a curve. Would you please show me that?
And then draw a line tangential to it.
No, in reality, please. Like outside on the Earth that we're navigating.
Yeah, remember how I asked you to give me an example in reality? You couldn't do that? So, he's talking about reality at this time as well.
You go straight out from where you are.
Okay, I didn't see any tangent point.
You don't need to see it. It's just an arbitrary point.
What the
So
hell?
does it not exist?
What?
The tangent point, does it not exist? I'm asking if I can see it, and you're telling me I don't need to. Sounds like it's not there.
No, I mean, it doesn't exist in the sense that you can't physically.
Oh. Then why would you assume that we're using tangent lines if you can't see the tangent point that would be necessary to have a tangent line?
Because celestial
Oh, you have
navigation.
some weird double standards. You got to hear those things you're saying. You said earlier, you're like, well, how do you go north if you can't see it? And then
There's
the heretic asks you, like, well, how do you see it? And you're like, oh, you don't need to see it.
But you said you don't need to see anything.
You're funny, dude. You have some
Don't
weird
need to
double
see the center of the
standards.
room. What double standards? You said you don't need to see the center of the room to navigate away from it. That's what you said.
You're the one assuming tangent lines, invoking tangent points that no one sees.
I see how you keep trying to like shift the topic, but we're talking about
That's the topic, and you're trying to shift out of it. I see how you keep doing that.
Husband, you've been tap dancing this whole time, brother. Like, Take the tap dancing shoes off, and we can actually get somewhere, maybe.
We're not getting anywhere because you haven't told me how south is not a point and north is.
Brother, I spent about an hour with you on that. You've just been tap dancing, so
Well,
you're
it-
just being difficult. You admitted you were being
That
difficult,
works.
so let's be real.
No, I did not admit that.
Yeah, you
It
were.
doesn't matter. If you have no tangent point, you have no curve, and we have no globe to talk about. Just a flat plane to navigate. So who cares?
What?
What? Me no speak no English.
Yeah, that sentence didn't make sense. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm sure
this-
one of these other English speakers here can interpret for you.
Yeah, he can't hear you. Sarah took over the clickety clack of his tap dancing shoes. So
There's no tapping.
this freaking guy. Well, says the guy tap dancing for an hour straight.
I have been trying to get a clear answer.
No,
why
you haven't. No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
I have asked you multiple times now.
No, you're not. You're not trying to answer questions yourself.
Do you know there's more? There is more than one South Pole.
I don't understand it. I've looked at Walter Bislam's model. You know, it doesn't make any sense how you have, you know, light doing one thing one way and doing something else the other way. Like, how is it that you celestial navigate south when you're already below the equator and you can't see north?
You don't need to see it. Remember?
I never said that.
Yeah, you just did. You just did, dude. That's why I love that we're recorded. Everything's recorded. So no, you did just say it. That's why I would. That's why I brought it up.
I mean, you
That's
can go
because you had
back and
double
look at
standards.
Nothing like that. The tangential line has nothing to do with where you look towards north. Sure, you
You
can
don't
measure
need to
an
see it,
angle
bro.
off from any surface, any type of surface. You can measure an angle from it.
A curved surface?
Tangential.
You're going to need a curve for that one then. If you got a tangent, then you need a curve.
Curve or not, you can have an angle.
Okay, show us the curve that you have a tangent to then, if that's the case.
It is besides the point. Curve or not, you can draw an
No,
angle.
It is the point of the entire server.
How is that the
it's
point?
the whole point. Just like how when we almost got to the very end of my last discussion, you said, "Well, the center is arbitrary." That was the whole point of the discussion, is the center. And you're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter." And then as we get to the very end of this point, you're like, no, what's the point? Like, brother, you're not even paying attention.
I'm 100%.
That's the whole point of this server. What do you mean you're not paying
I'm
attention?
trying to. Can you answer why or how you can see the center?
You're just going back. Take the tap dancing shoes off. We already did that for an hour.
He's claiming there is a South Pole, right? Do you know there is more than one South Pole, sir? Which South Pole are you talking about?
The celestial South Pole, which is connected to the geographic.
You're flip flopping.
Connected how?
With a far pole, same as in your example.
What?
So is that okay? So the celestial South Pole that you're talking about, it's in the sky. It's a certain dark spot in the sky, the celestial south, right? That's the spot that you're talking about.
Correct. Well, I mean, it's not totally.
Okay, and what happens with that? Nobody's saying that there is no phenomena in the sky. Are you relating that to the ground, and what does that mean?
That's what he did for his example, for the North Pole.
Asking you about your worldview. Don't worry about me.
A geographic South Pole, a magnetic one, a geomagnetic one, and a ceremonial one. I think you're talking about the ceremonial one, right? The one that so they put a pole there, and you go take selfies on it, and you say, "Hey, family, look, I took a picture in the South Pole." That's the one you're talking about. Because you're saying that is 90 degrees to celestial. That one you're saying that ceremonial pole is
I am not talking about any ceremonial pole.
it's aligned to celestial south. You're saying that celestial south, 90 degrees under that, there is a position on the ground, right?
Yes.
Where is that position? Show me that position on the map. Go ahead.
Can I post it? I'm not even able to post a photo.
Yeah, I'll DM you. I'll post it for you. Don't worry. I'll shoot you a message right now. Because I want to take a look at this as well. I think Jamesy might have you on this one, but we'll take a look.
Wait, you want to post? Okay, you can post. Wait.
James is just gonna give you perms.
Because he's gonna post a projection of some map.
I mean, I can tell you right now, it's a south azimuthal distant projection. Yeah, so why is that map not valid? But the north.
No, it's not. Listen, you got to focus on what he asked you for. So that's not really the answer to the question. He asked you something very specific. Do you? Have
Yeah,
an
you're
answer?
talking about celestial
talking about
south has a
northern.
90-degree position on the ground, and that means what? Well, what is your argument? Can you be cohesive of what you're saying? Are you just asking a question,
That's what,
or
no,
are
listen,
you just, or are you making a claim? Do you have a claim on the table or no?
no, I don't have a claim on the table. I'm asking you how it works on the flat Earth.
So you're not a globe. You're not defending the globe. That's not what you're doing. You're
I
not
don't
here.
Stop the
You
cap.
don't
I'm
need to.
asking
He's beating around the bush. He's afraid to defend it.
What do you
You're
mean?
tap dancing again.
I can defend it. I just want to know how it works on the flat Earth.
Can you? I have my doubts about that claim that you can defend the globe. I have
You can doubt
many
it.
doubts about it.
We're not
Can you
talking
defend
about
it? Be honest. Be honest. Can you actually present a case for the globe? Can you actually do that?
in like 5 minutes. No, I can't do that.
How about 10 minutes?
I mean, you want what, like the entire body of evidence, or do you want like a photo? Like, what would be evidence for you?
Bro.
You say you can't do it. Thanks for being honest, but can you? I mean, what can you do? And then, if you cannot prove the globe, just like you said, you can't prove it. So what can you do?
I didn't say I can't prove it.
Well, you haven't proved it. That says
You haven't
can.
proved it yet.
Do I need to prove it right now? I mean, we're talking about celestial navigation.
He's tap dancing again, dude.
No, I mean, we're talking about celestial navigation. We've always been talking about celestial navigation.
I never once invoked celestial navigation this entire time of my discussion with you since the chat.
Entire discussion.
Celestial navigation is impossible on a globe. That's done.
How is it impossible?
Do you know what a triangle is? What is a triangle?
What is a triangle?
Yeah, what's a triangle? Tell us.
It's a shape with 3 sides and 3 angles, and they all measure 180 degrees. Is that wrong?
Can you do that triangle on a? Where is the line, the horizontal line on the globe that you can do this triangle that is gonna equal 180 degrees? Because you can't do it if the ground is curving below you, right? It's a straight line.
From where you are.
It's a straight line, right?
Yeah, just straight out from wherever you are.
And then what happens if you start curving that line?
Why would you need to curve that line?
I mean, isn't the geometry of the globe curving under the line?
Talking about a straight line drawn out. Can you measure an angle from that?
You need the other line.
What? You need another line? Okay, we can have one 90 degrees straight up. So we got 2 lines.
So you have the baseline, which is horizontal.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. You don't have the horizontal on the globe. It's not a horizontal line. You have a curving line away from you. 8 inches per mile square is gonna be curving away from you, and you don't have that on that. Can you have that on a triangle? The bottom line is curving. Can you have that on the triangle?
No, but like
Exactly.
You can just draw a straight line. It doesn't need to have a curve.
And then how are you going to use that to say, well, see, look, that means it's curved? If you're saying it's not, you're not invoking it, you don't need it,
We're using the
but you're
point
you're sure as hell going to use it to double back and try to cash it in on the fact that it's curved. Goofy.
If you have a straight tangent line, you need a curve in order to have a tangent to that curve. You can't show us that curve. This is where this conversation stops, and you try to avoid the rest of it every single time.
This is besides the point, though. Like
That is the point which you are avoiding.
regardless of whether it's curved or not.
Brother, that's the entire point. Like,
Right.
dude,
So,
you really
I
gotta
don't understand
focus.
what this has to do with celestial navigation. You haven't tied it back yet. What does this have to do? I mean, you can just say
Bro,
stupid.
you're not paying attention.
No, I'm paying 100% attention. You have
No,
not
you're not.
answered
You're
why.
100% not.
Stop the cap.
You know that you're talking about the celestials. You know the celestials. They work in cycles. There is shards, Cartesian cards based on the ground, right? And there is shards that, depending on the time of the day, you're gonna know the position of the sun, right? And you can utilize the sun and the North Star to create the angles to tell the time and the position in the ground, right? Based on the charts. So these triangles that you're making, you can't make the horizontal line if the surface below you is curving away from you. It will be impossible to navigate using that method.
And you can do it.
Therefore, you using the method based on the axiomatic horizontal that is there in place. Doesn't matter your opinion or anybody else's. You have to build from there, from that horizontal, and you utilize the method to create these angle lines, these angles from the lines.
Yeah, like
To know your position based on the chart. So and the luminaries, because you're talking about the luminaries, and the luminaries reset. They work in cycles, and that also will be impossible in the spinning globe that is going billions of miles. It's moving. You're moving billions of miles every single hour.
The pole is related to the Earth itself. It's not related to, like, you can relate it to the stars, but it's not like an actual physical thing. It's just like a projection of another sphere. That's what the celestial sphere is.
Yeah, the celestial sphere.
For thousands of years, the celestial.
There's charts. There's charts of them, right? People know the positions of them depending on the time of the year, right? The time of the day.
Celestial poles do not move depending on time of year or day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying.
The luminaries are revolving around the celestial north, right? That's what you're saying.
Right, and they do the same.
And there is a fixed point, right? There is a fixed point. That spot in the sky, it's fixed. That center point is fixed.
Right.
And if the ground that you're standing on was curving and spinning and moving billions and billions and trillions of miles, how can that fixed point in the sky be fixed on the same spot? It's impossible. Get it? You do get it. This is very basic, bro. If you were moving from the point above you, that 90 degrees above you, if you were moving that almost at the speed of light, if you were moving that fast away from that thing,
it doesn't matter how fast you're going if it's going with it.
You're going with it. Like you're holding hands or something.
What?
They're holding somehow like that. How far is that Polaris thing? Anyways,
out. Like what? They're not holding hands. It's a projection of the Earth. As the Earth is moving, the projection goes with it. Like, what is hard about that?
But the observation that you're doing of the North Star is just a fixed spot. It's a fixed spot that it can be used
the North Star is
for the celestial for the celestial navigation. And once you draw that line above your whatever position the North Star is from your ground position, then you draw the horizontal line. That's it. Game over for the globe, bro. It's pretty simple.
What happens when you can no longer see the North Star? It's my question. I've been trying to get an answer for this for like an hour. What happens when
People
you
use
convert
other
them to
people use
polarities?
other stars. People use the position of the sun, the position of the moon, the position of.
They use the south celestial pole. They use the Southern Cross, which points directly to the south celestial pole, and that always goes south. Just like pointing north always gets you north.
Okay, so people use the sigma Ancantis position in the sky to do another line angle to the horizontal baseline, and they use that angle to tell their position. Sure, yeah, you can use like I just said. They
So it
use
is
different stars, different positions, and based on the charts, they can tell their position, right? It's doesn't you could do it with one star, with the other star. It's not
right.
just
So
the North Star, the only star that they use for that, right?
right, that's the point. Like you have two poles. So how do you make
No,
two
you have
poles that
stars in the sky. You're saying that these other stars that you look in the other side of the sky, there is a 90-degree below that, and that position is the south pole of the ball. You're saying that the 90 degrees under the North Star, the celestial north, is the top of the ball, and then you're saying that you're going around the ball to the bottom of the ball, and there is a 90-degree south stars, right?
correct?
That's what you're.
Yes. So how and that's real life. That's how stuff
And that is a mathematical equation that you made.
I
You haven't
didn't make a
found
mathematical
when you
equation.
go to that is a mathematical thing that you did, right? It's mathematical.
What, just drawing an angle? I mean, you can just take a protractor out. There's no equation.
The curve, when you added the ball, that you went from top of the ball to the bottom of the ball based on looking at the sky from the celestial north or celestial south, then you use math to attach that to a mathematical construct, which is a globe of a specific dimension, specific geometry,
I
right?
mean, you can use the elevation angle of Polaris to find what your latitude is. Sure.
So the globe,
You can not touch it.
the conclusion of the ball is a mathematical one, is it?
It's a geometric one.
Geometric based on what?
Based on having
What? Yeah,
right.
geometrical, but yeah, you could do a geometry on the mathematical equation and build a geometry from there. But have you checked that geometry in the realist level, like on the waters of the earth, the ground? Have you found that geometry that you made on the math? Have you checked that in the realist level,
Have I
like
checked
on
that
the ground,
Polaris
the
is
ground
the
below your
same
feet and the
elevation
waters across it?
latitude is? Yes, I have done that.
What?
Yes, I have checked that Polaris is the same elevation angle up as my latitude is.
You checked Polaris? You
Yeah.
checked Polaris.
Yeah, I checked Polaris. What do you mean?
You checked Polaris,
Stop
like
the cap.
physically, like you went to Polaris and checked it. You check,
No,
okay,
like with
you
a
went to
sextant.
Polaris and you touched it and you check, okay, Polaris
No,
is right here. You
you
did that.
don't need to touch it. You can see Polaris, right?
Oh, you can
It's not-
see the star, the
you
luminary in
need
the
to
sky.
see.
And where you're
You need to
standing, when you're
see
looking at when you're looking at Polaris, where are you standing?
on the ground.
Oh, you're standing on the ground. And where is the ground? Below your feet?
Yeah.
Okay,
Of course,
okay.
it's
So
almost
below
on the
your
ground.
feet, we have the ground. What is above your head? What is above your head? Polaris above your head?
Zenith is above my.
Zenith is above your head, yeah. Polaris could be at a different angle. What? Where are you? Like right now, where is Polaris? At what angle is Polaris in your sky? Like in reality, like you could draw an angle from Polaris right now, right? Like right now, you can do it. What is that angle from your position?
It's about 20 degrees.
20 degrees. So then you draw a horizontal line from your position of the ground, that ground below you, and the waters, because when you're navigating on the sea, it's mostly water, right? And that
Yeah.
horizontal the horizontal line doesn't curve ever.
Okay. So what?
So now you know that if that now you know that the ground or and the waters are not curving, which is an important thing to know
That's
when
not
you're
something
making
you
a claim.
no,
That is what?
that's not you can't deduce that. No, that's a non sequitur.
Wait,
You can't conclude
how do we navigate?
that's not
How do
true.
we actually navigate across the waters? Do we do navigate? We do this stuff, right? This is
Yeah,
stuff
of
that we do
course.
in the realist level,
Yes,
right?
people use
And
celestial
and people do
navigation
this.
all the
Yeah,
time. We've done it for
yeah,
thousands and thousands of years. That's how people got to islands.
yeah.
I mean,
So
let's talk about that.
in no way, shape, or form you will actually in the realist level utilize this globe under your feet to do anything. You use navigating using triangles, horizontal lines, right, and straight lines. Doing the triangle, and there is you don't use the globe for anything, bro. Do you?
I mean, it is a globe. It's a celestial sphere as well.
It's in the so the globe is in the sky. The celestial sphere is in the sky. It's a mathematical equation of the sky.
It is
It
inside.
is, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's a sphere, right? I mean, can we at least agree on that?
You could do a mathematical representation or projection of the
And
sky as a sphere, right? You could do
they
that,
rotate in the shape of a sphere.
but that
Right?
doesn't translate. That doesn't translate to the ground below your feet, because the ground you can check it, and you check it, and it's not a sphere.
How did you check that?
Besides the sextant and the navigation, right? The triangles that we were talking about earlier, the horizontal
Sextants just
lines.
draw
You
a
know,
straight
we
line
have
out.
water. What?
Sextants just draw a straight line out.
Yeah.
Or you can use a
So you have a
protractor
straight line
here.
above the
You can,
horizontal plane,
you can
right?
stick, you can
In
stick
the
a
water.
protractor
So
on top of a globe. And yeah.
on top of what
And
you mean the globe? You mean you buy a globe in Walmart, the globe thing, right? That
yeah, you can
one?
buy one of those.
Yeah, you buy that globe. You go to Walmart. It's probably, I don't know, $10, $20, $50 a globe. You grab that thing. You put it on a table, right? Because you put it on a table. That globe, right?
Right.
You put it on a table, and then you spin it, and then you do what with it? What do you do with that globe?
Put a
To prove
protractor on
to
it.
prove to prove what do you do with that globe to prove the thing under your feet is that thing on the table? That globe.
Put a
To prove
protractor on
to
it.
prove to prove what do you do with that globe to prove that the thing under your feet is that thing on the table, that globe on the table? What do you do?
How do you wait? What? Sorry, say that again.
What? So you buy the globe, because you say you're gonna put a
Oh, this is
protractor.
your example, Fuzz. Pay attention, dude.
You're saying you're gonna put a protractor on top of the globe, right? If
Yeah.
so,
Blow it out.
you're saying that you're gonna put one of these things on top of the globe that is on the table, and what does that prove?
It proves that you can point towards the celestial sphere.
What?
Complete non sequitur. So you have a desk
Yeah.
globe, a protractor, then
That's what
that
we're doing
cashes
here.
into
Pointing-
what?
We're getting an angle to a star to find our latitude.
Brother, you have a plastic desk globe and a protractor on top, and you're gonna use that to cash it in reality? I want to go back to the drawing board
I
on
mean,
that.
it's a perfect analogy for reality. I mean,
Have you
it's
seen
very-
the have you seen the actual things that you use to navigation, the Cartesian coordinates, right? The charts. Have you seen those?
I'm not sure what you're referring.
The Cartesian coordinates maps. You can see the
Cartesian
maps that people
coordinates,
use.
X, Y, but what do you mean?
You know the charts for the maps that people cannot use regionally to navigate certain regions of the world. Because you don't use a globe. You know the globe, that globe you don't use that to go anywhere because it's not practical. You don't see specific landmarks. You don't
You can't
see
fold up a globe and put it in your pocket.
exactly. Yeah, you got it. So that globe, you don't use it for anything in reality, right?
I mean,
So when you go to
it's an
when you go
option.
to the real east level and you use the maps, you never use the globe to do any navigation, bro.
It's
Look
spherical
at the
geometry.
yeah, you can project that into you can do a projection of that. Sure, you can do that. You
And
could do
it
that.
works. It
And it's
works perfect
mathematically yeah, it works because you're gonna be well,
compared
can
to
you
what's
show me a
proposed.
longitude? You're talking about the longitudes and latitudes, right? Talking about that?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you can make that mathematical equation and convert it into the globe that you put on the table and build and make a globe out of that, right? But where do you find those longitudes and latitudes in reality?
You
That's a
can
mathematical,
the
that is a
angle.
mathematical equation. That is mathematical.
It's not really an equation. It's simply measuring an angle to a star, and that star is already on projection of the globe. We call the celestial sphere, and that gets us to that point every time.
So again, you're making the celestial sphere of the sky, and that's not the ground because we agree that the sky is above your head and the ground is below your feet. We have to go back to
Okay.
that.
I mean, does the sky make a sphere, or does
You're
it not?
well, you're saying that you're making a mathematical equation, and you're saying and you're constructing a projection of the sky as a sphere, and then you're saying that means that the ground below your feet must be a sphere because you made a mathematical equation of the sky.
That's not what I said. But
So how do you come?
I
How does the observation of the luminaries determine the shape of the ground under your feet
it
as a globe?
determines
It doesn't happen.
it determines that we can celestially navigate a sphere using simple angle measurements.
Stop the cap.
But you're
Angle
just assuming
measurements.
you're on a sphere, Fuzz.
I mean, it doesn't matter what shape we're on. It could be whatever. But you have to acknowledge that when you're pointing to something, you're going towards that thing.
And you never use the sphere for any of that. You're
Well,
saying
it's
we live in a
distance.
sphere because I made this mathematical equation,
Celestial.
but even though you're not gonna use it in reality,
We use the celestial sphere in reality. Yes, that's how celestial navigation. It uses a celestial sphere. Two poles, both circumpolar stars going around those poles. They work identically. You can use. I mean, of course, you use different stars, but they work identically, right?
have you ever the navigators that go down there to the south and they reach the geographical, which is the longitude, latitude spot that is the globe, and the south pole that you're talking about, right? That spot on the map, because you're talking about a map, a projection, and you're drawing a spot in a place, and you're saying this is the south pole, right? You're converging the longitudes and the latitude to that spot,
Well, they all
and
navigate around that
you're
point.
saying, hey, look at this map. This is the South Pole, and since we build this map as a globe, therefore the ground under your feet and everything around you is a globe. You see didn't you see a problem there? Because when you look at the navigators and they reach that spot that you're talking about, they say they have to go by the simplicity of the terrain because the map is not that there's is not accurate. They talk about multiple south poles. They
But
talk about
hold on, let's
magnetic
example.
south pole,
No, one celestial.
geographical.
Okay,
They talk
celestial
about
south
more than three south poles. Listen,
the
and then they
celestial
say
south pole.
they cannot go based on that. So the map that you're talking about, the longitude and latitude, that spot is not accurate. You think it
The
is,
celestial
but
south
it's not.
pole.
And they also, when they reach that spot,
Not
they also talk
necessarily.
about hundreds or thousands of miles between each spot. Each south pole that you're talking about, they all have different positions by
I'm
hundreds,
not
if not
talking about
thousands of
multiple.
miles.
I'm not talking about multiple South poles. I'm talking
You're
about one.
because exactly my point.
One
Exactly my
South
point. You're
pole.
talking about you're just talking about the South Pole on the
This guy.
map on the mathematical equation. Listen, you're talking about a specific South Pole, which is a projection of the longitude and latitude based on the spherical
It's a
construct.
projection of the geographic South Pole, just as the
On the
this
geographic of the
universal
globe,
example.
not on the reality, not on the things that you can verify, not on the
Why
realist
can you
level.
not
You're
verify
talking
it?
about mathematical constructs, and you're saying, look,
Well,
mathematical construct, this spot right here, it's south because it's 90 degrees below the mathematical equated added variable of the position of the stars in the sky that you think is below the sphere. You're saying that
I
that
think
what
you're
we
just
observe, the horizontal plane, the thing that you experience, measure, base everything on, you are discarding that and saying it's the opposite. It's curving, that horizontal, that line, that that triangle, it has a curve adjacent to it, and that's impossible in a triangle. You know that, right?
I never said it was possible.
Okay,
I'm
good,
trying to
good, good.
understand
It's not possible.
why it is you can use the north to celestially navigate, but not the south. Like what's stopping you? And why can you not navigate south once you can no longer see Polaris?
Wait, give me 1 second. Go ahead. Can you ask the question? Or
Literally,
anybody that heard it? Wait, can you ask it again? And anybody that
let me ask
heard
it
and want to
another way.
reply, go ahead.
If you are south of the equator, or the midway point between north and south, I guess whatever you might call it, um, how do you see where south is? How do you know where to navigate south if you can no longer see Polaris, which is what happens in reality? You can no longer see Polaris as soon as you go south of the equator. I mean, it's not as soon as obviously there's other things.
Does anybody live in the South that navigates? Oh, I guess nobody fucking knows. Who cares?
Uh,
Who
hey,
cares?
Elijah. Another thing is
I mean, how do people get to Australia?
but he's saying that because we do angles, lines from the south, from the stars in the south, right? Because we do the angles with these stars, therefore
Yeah,
globe.
it's the same. It works the same in the north as it does in the south. Therefore, the sky is symmetrical.
Well, that is most definitely. Uh, I mean, it's symmetrical. Okay, what does that mean?
It means that it's like a sphere. You know, it makes the shape of a
Oh
sphere.
yeah, that's the permanent consequent. I'm sorry, bud.
Well, otherwise you have lines going different direction. Like otherwise, you have different rules going north and south, and that's no longer.
I don't know what otherwise means,
Never
but the
explained that
argument you
earlier.
just gave was an affirmative consequent fallacy.
Can you explain?
Explain. Well, you have a premise. The Earth is a sphere, and you have an observation. The observation of that, the stars seem to be symmetrical, both in the north and southern hemisphere. That would be begging the question of a sphere. So therefore, it has to be a sphere. That would be affirming the consequent.
That was
If
not my
P,
argument.
then Q.
That was not my
Q,
argument
therefore
at
P.
all. That was not my argument.
You, I
I said
literally just repeated what you said. You said,
that's
well, the
not what I
stars are
said.
symmetrical. Don't make me
I said
mute
the
you,
sky
fam.
is
I don't want to argue to tell you what you said. I'm about to tell you what you said, and that's just going to be that. So
I mean,
you
you don't
said
want to put words in my mouth.
that
That's
they're
okay with you.
symmetrical. And then I said, what does that mean? You said, well, it must be a sphere. So all I did was repeat exactly what you said.
It exhibits spherical geometry. So how does that work?
Like I
Alfonso?
said, your argument was an affirming the consequent fallacy.
Yeah, because you're saying I make a math equation of the sky and it looks like a sphere. Therefore, the ground that I'm standing on is a sphere. That's what you're doing, sir.
But does it work? Does celestial navigation work in the
What
south?
do you mean, does it work? It's an affirming the consequent fallacy.
Well, I'm asking you about
Celestial
celestial
navigation is a non sequitur to that.
We've been talking about celestial navigation this entire conversation.
And
You're
And
trying.
Hour and a half or whatever.
and
And I want to know how it works on a flat surface.
well,
Stop the cap.
regardless of, I mean, if the
How do
surface
you
or the
have two
convexity
poles?
is in question, and your argument is the stars in the south are symmetrical to the stars in the north, well then,
How
suck
do you
it.
have
That's
two poles?
affirming the consequent.
How do you have two poles? I mean, we have two
I
poles,
don't know
right?
why you keep asking questions. You
Well,
came here with what I'm assuming is a
I came
claim.
here with questions. I didn't come here with a claim. No, I mean,
So
if
okay, so
celestial
guess what? I
navigation
said
works
I
on a
said
theory
who
of
knows?
claim,
I said who knows? I've never been to the south. Who knows? So what does
you
that
know,
mean?
Also,
I mean,
Fuzzy,
being
if
east
you
of
have
the sun,
questions,
you'll
we
have
have
to
questions
navigate.
too. If you want answers from us, you're gonna have to give out some answers as well. So when we ask you questions, you shift the topic. We've done it with me several times. So you
Well,
said
I
that
haven't gotten an answer to my
going.
question, so
Well,
I
neither
don't.
have I. I'm gonna ask you
Hey,
the
yeah, I just
specific
gave you an
questions.
answer. I just gave you an answer. I haven't been to the south.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
But
what is it?
even if I were looking at the stars and seeing that they were symmetrically mapped to the ones in the north, what would that have to do with making a claim, other than assuming that the Earth is a sphere because of that? Because then that would just be an affirming the consequent fallacy, like I explained to you.
Well, it's just simple deduction. What else? What other shapes
Well,
could it
a
possibly?
connection that affirms the consequent in logical form, but you're not accepting that, and it's not like I'm lying. I mean, I'm using the words that you're using, and you're just basically dismissing it like, well, still, like
Right.
as if it's a valid form of argumentation. I
Well,
don't get it.
what would be a valid conclusion
Not affirming the
without
consequent,
having
that's for sure.
Not what you just said.
Not affirming the consequent would be a valid
okay,
form of argument. Not begging the question would be a valid form of argument.
how
We could
would you
start there.
without Polaris?
Excuse me?
How do you navigate south without Polaris?
I don't know. I've never navigated in the South.
Okay, so you just don't know.
I said that 5 minutes ago.
You
All right.
also said going north and going south are either different or the same. I've asked you
Very little
probably 5 times to explain that. So how are they the same?
like you can get an angle to the south celestial pole the same way you can get an angle to the north celestial pole.
So that's what you mean by going, because you said going north and going south are the same. I actually wrote it down. So now you're talking about measuring to the sky.
I
So
mean, they're not literally the same, but they work the same. You understand?
how
Like
so?
in celestial navigation,
How?
you use the
No,
north
I'm not
pole.
talking about looking at the sky. I'm talking about in reality.
Well, that's what's celestial navigation is in reality. You're not.
No,
Yeah,
but what I wrote down is I actually had to write it down just so I didn't get it wrong. You said going north and going south are the same.
Same concept.
Mm.
Yes.
So, but you're
Yeah,
saying
but
that they wouldn't be the same,
I said so
or
what? You said that
Well,
that
no, they
means
wouldn't be
that
the
it's a
same.
sphere. No, it doesn't.
If your walls are on the edges and your center is like just in the center of
Listen,
the room,
you basically said it's symmetrical. Like, and then I said, so what? Because it's not like I'm saying no, no, it's
so
not. No, navigation would be different. But I'm like, okay, so what's your point? You then said that means it must be a sphere, and I'm like, affirming the consequent.
I said it
What's the
exhibits
problem?
spherical geometry. I did not say that it must be a
you
sphere.
won't even
But
get to the geometry. You've been talking about celestially this whole time, so you haven't.
it's symmetrical. The sky is.
You don't get to
symmetrical,
cash that in
right?
to the ground.
Okay, well, how do you get a symmetrical sky with only one pole?
Not the way you're trying to tie it down. So
What do you mean?
Elijah just explained it to you.
I mean, I don't even know if that's true. You're claiming it's true. I
No,
wouldn't know.
I didn't claim one pole. That was his claim.
No, no, no. I'm saying you're saying that. Well, it's symmetrical because there's two poles. I don't really know. I don't even. I mean,
Well, if you're
you know what
saying
I
I'm
do know.
mistaken,
I know
then
that navigation in the south is different than it is in the north. I mean, that's just something that I know. I don't know that, but I know of that because that's what many people from the south say. And I don't know exactly why, but it sounds like it's not as simple as you're making it seem right now. Because I've never heard anyone say that travel south is just like it is north. In fact, it's definitely not like that.
Celestial
'Cause the
navigation
further south
back
you
in
go,
time.
the more corrections you have to make. So clearly, this symmetry you're talking about, I mean, I don't want to deny it, I because it doesn't matter anyway. I'm like, what's the point? I mean, but if you're going to use the
Point
words
is
in the
that
formulation that you're
the point
using
is
them,
you
it's
cannot
an
be.
affirming the consequent fallacy. So it's
The point
so
point is that you
I
cannot
why
be.
well, you know what? Why is it that when we tell people that the form of the argument that they're using uh has a fallacious premise because it's not proven, so you come to this assumed
Well, celestial
conclusion
navigation
rather than
doesn't
proving.
work.
Yeah, but that's a non sequitur
How is that a non sequitur?
because for some reason you're tying celestial navigation to proving that the Earth is a sphere, and I'm like, how so? Then you
I
said what you said, and I'm like, but okay. The method of celestial navigation and you claiming that the Earth is a sphere is
I
a
did not say it
major
proves that
jump.
it's a sphere. I said that it exhibits spherical geometry and it works on a sphere. It does not work on a flat surface. That's
Um, okay, that's a baseless assertion
how is that baseless?
because it is.
I,
You haven't provided this
as it
flat
is.
description that you're talking about either. You haven't presented this. You're just saying, well, it just doesn't work on my idea of what I think it would be, so therefore it can't be. That's not an argument.
I've already brought this up.
No,
Walter
you haven't.
Disney's model and
It's
You
also a
didn't
instrumentation.
present it.
reification fallacy on top of that, seeing as that you're using like not reality.
I am using reality. We use celestial
No, you're
navigation
not.
No,
in
you
reality.
no, you're not.
No,
You just
you're
brought up
not.
Walter Island's model of the Earth. That's not
Well,
reality,
that's
brother.
of course it's not reality because it
Then
shows.
how are you saying
You
you just brought in reality? Come on, dude. You're barely paying attention here.
said it works on a globe. Have to fit that into whatever. I don't even fucking know, dog. You're not presenting anything. So I mean, what do you want me to say?
I didn't really come here to present. I just asked like a simple
Okay, well,
question
you
about
asked
celestial
I
a
have
question.
questions.
I said I don't know. I don't travel in the South, so I can't really tell you in good
Well,
faith
can
specifically
anybody
what
else?
to do. And it seems what he's saying. I don't know. I don't know what anyone else has said.
No, I
I'm
don't have a
pretty
problem if you
sure.
don't know. Is
Um,
anybody else? Does
I,
anybody else know how you navigate
Also,
south?
Fuzz, hold on, buddy. I'm not sure if there's a
no,
lag or what's
no,
going
they
on.
don't. No, they don't know. No, they don't know. So do you have any other questions? Maybe someone-
What's that?
Fuzz, just wanted to say real quick, buddy. I know we've been on this for we're going to our third hour here, so clearly you have the floor to speak. I can't hear you when you're speaking when Elijah is speaking, so just make sure that, I don't know if there's a lag or delay. If it's me, I apologize. But just wait till he passes the mic back, you know what I'm saying? You seem to want to talk when he's talking, and I can't hear both of you at the same time, so
All right.
just the floor is yours. You're welcome to speak. Clearly you've been here for 3 hours, so just make sure you pass the mic back and forth. But if you're here with questions, we have questions too. If you demand answers, we want answers as well. So just chill out with the double
Demanding
standards. Well, okay, fine. If you have questions, you're like, well, I want to know how this works. We're gonna have questions for you as well. And so if you don't want us to tap dance around questions, which we don't like to do, we don't prefer if you don't tap dance around questions as well. So you seem
But
to
I
know
would
what
like
a non
to.
sequitur is. You'll say, "Oh, that's a non sequitur," and then when Elijah says, you're like, "Wait, well, how?" So it's like
I would like to
these double
eventually
standards are wild,
ask
boy.
a question instead of just me constantly giving questions. You know what I mean?
It's a two-way street. You understand that, right? So if you're here, oh, I only have questions. This is something people do all the time. They pretend like they're here just as an interviewer, but then you start making a case, you start making claims, etc. So if you're gonna
Well,
make claims, we're gonna
so
have
far,
questions back and hold you accountable to the things that you say. So
so
this
far
isn't
the
just
only
an interview.
claim I really have is that celestial navigation works in the north. South.
There have been a few other claims in there that people have tried to address that you're like, well, you can't just say them and go, whoa, didn't mean it. So, sorry. But that's what we do too. We're going to have questions for you as well.
You know, everything you've claimed here so far has been moot, Fuzzball, since you told us you didn't have a curve to draw a tangent to.
I never said that.
Okay. This is the tap dancing I was talking about earlier.
So wait, does that mean you do have a curve to draw a tangent to?
Sure.
All right, let's see it.
Why wouldn't you just start with that? Like, that's what we're here for. That's the whole point of the server.
Does celestial navigation work, or does it not work?
So that would be a no on the curve for the tangent, I guess.
I mean, you can put reasons on.
Well, that's what we got, was no curve.
I never said there was no curve.
Who cares what you said? That's what you gave us, no curve.
The curve
So
comes in.
why don't you just give it to us then? Because why wouldn't you just start with that? Like, what the hell?
Started with a question. I want to know.
He's holding on to it. That's his ace in the sleeve. He's holding on to that curvature secret. Like, dude, if you got it, just put it up, dude. Like, what are you?
Yeah, I'm calling your bluff, Fuzzball.
Fuzz, you understand the primary contention is the ground, right?
Okay.
You understand that, yeah?
How do you navigate the ground?
Well, we want to measure and see what the nature of the ground is. That's what's in contention. We're not concerned with how we navigate
I mean,
it.
that's a non sequitur. We're like, you know, the ground is in contention. The contentious part being either it's a convex surface or a flat surface. Flat being just, level being level versus level being equidistant from the center of a circle. So since that's the case, you saying, well, how do we navigate the ground? I don't know. We move forward and backwards. Now, how do we use celestial navigation? I don't know. First thing we do is uh, get an elevation angle from a horizontal plane to the vertical plane. So I don't get what you're trying to do here,
Yeah, I think you made a slight
other than
misstep earlier.
affirm the consequent,
The sky would have to be
reapply.
symmetrical if you were on.
No, you're saying it would have to be, but see, that's where the fallacy comes in that you keep on ignoring.
Please explain how you have two poles on a flat surface.
Well, anyway,
We
instead
already
of
went over
giving
that for
us
like
an
an hour.
argument, you just keep asking us questions. You don't see how that's a problem?
This is the first question that I asked. The very first.
It's already been
question.
Well,
answered.
it doesn't matter. Well, I just told you what I told you, and the thing you followed up with is how do you? And it's like it's tiring.
And we already covered it for like a whole hour and 30 minutes in the chat. So moving past that though, you're trying to apply these observations to a shape, and I think that's part of the problem. What shape is flat? This is where he goes radio silent. You want to rumpus Elijah, but he goes for crickets when a real question gets asked.
Of course.
So what's the answer then? It should be pretty
What
easy.
shape is flat? And
Yeah.
So no topography of any kind.
That's your final answer?
Completely no curve. It's 180
So
degrees.
so that's what you think our position is.
I that's what it seems like you guys.
Holy smokes. No wonder you've been failing this whole time, brother. No wonder you're like, well, it can't work on flat. If that's what you think flat is, that's what you think our position is?
All right, how can it work?
No topography?
Topography.
Well, first of all, let's hold on. We need to make sure you understand first of all, what our position even is. That's why I asked you what shape, because you're like, well, I have a hold on. You were saying that why I try to apply these to shapes. Well, what shape are you applying if you're going to use a quote flat Earth? What shape are you using for that?
The picture that you drew.
That's.
What do you?
He probably thinks that's reality, CB.
Wow.
Of a disc shape, right?
As a room. I said I was using this as an example of a room. Okay, I never said that was the shape of the Earth. So if you're telling me that our position is The Earth is shaped like a disc. That's your understanding of our position.
I mean, that's what it seemed like you were saying.
No wonder. This is starting to make a lot more sense here, folks.
Well, I'm trying to
This
get to
guy's confused.
I'm trying to get to the actual.
Well, here's the answer. You should have known this right when I asked you. Flat isn't a shape. Elijah sort of already went over that with you. So if you're trying to apply certain observations to a shape, that's where you're getting things wrong. Because there's no shape I can offer you to apply it to. Flat is a description of a surface. There's only two options here. It's either curved or it's not. So we're talking about the ground, which is either doing one of those two things. You're talking about shape of the Earth, which is completely unknown.
Okay, so how do you? All right, so you said flat surface, right?
Yeah, well, that includes topography and everything else. So it's
Flat surface with topography.
yeah, aka going into reality, right? So like,
In reality,
just Elisha already gave you that answer. You just go. Like people ask us all the time, like, how do you go from point A to point B? Well, you just, all right, well, dude, brother, I'd like to maybe answer your question without being rumpus, but remember, you've been here like for like 3 hours and you haven't been muted, so I don't want to have to mute you when other people are speaking. So you already asked, how do you navigate? Well, Elisha answered this for you. You just go wherever you need to go. People ask us all the time, how do you go from point A to point B? Yeah, just go to point B. This is not that hard. We're talking about whether the surface is curved or not. You're talking about navigating. Who cares?
so do you not see how that's begging the question?
What specifically?
You navigate.
How? Tell us how.
That's the argument. You navigate by navigating. That's
Brother,
begging the
that's
question.
not what I said. I said we're talking about whether the surface is doing one of two options. That's the whole point of the server. Elijah, you're super low for some weird reason.
Okay, so how do you navigate the surface?
Fuzz, a better question for you is how do you have a sphere that has no curvature?
So
How do I?
saying you navigate by navigating isn't fucking begging the question. Having a premise and then instead of proving the premise, using an argument that assumes the premise would be begging the question, fam. We didn't even give you an argument. You
No.
want to know how you navigate. Creation Bear, would you mind reading from the top of the S to the right of the S1?
Somebody else read that. I'm at the library. Somebody else do it.
I mean, that's
Obvious.
why I wanted you to read because you got voice right now. Like it's like
I'm trying to be quiet at the library, nigga. Damn. It's obvious. Go ahead and read that. Can you read that for us?
Yeah, could read out. Where from, Elijah?
to the right of the S1.
Oh, okay,
And then
right, yeah.
after he finishes reading it, that's the answer to your question.
Start of the second paragraph, yeah. To ensure that the object is at its lowest possible point, the sextant is rotated along the axis of the telescope and the time of measurement and altitude are noted. By measuring the angle, I don't know what that symbol stands for there. Anyway, by measuring the angle of a known star from the horizon and using a book containing known reference values for the star in question at the time of measurement, it is possible to determine the distance r along the surface of the Earth to the point in which the star is exactly overhead. From this, a navigator knows he is on a specific circle along the plane of the surface of Earth, or radius r, known as the line of position, LOP. He does not know his direction from this point. However, by examining a second star, a second radius can be deduced. The navigator now knows he is on one of the points where both the circular functions meet. In the case that there is only one real route, he knows his position, although this is only possible if the radii are parallel. More realistically, he can look up a third star in order to find the intersection between three circles. This will give him his location to a certain precision based on the precision of his watch, altimeter, and the divisions of the reference table. This is reasonable scope for both human error and a cumulative lack of precision.
So I have to do it finding a direction. It says in there.
You said, how do you navigate? This is live streamed. Are you going to tell me that what he read isn't sufficient on the live stream?
It's not celestial. Typical
Excuse me?
celestial navigation.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
It says. I mean, what do you mean? Like, what in the article says what your direction is? It says
Wow.
he does not know his direction from this point. But that's the only mention of direction. Like, we have no idea what the Cartesian coordinates are. That the
From this, a navigator knows he is on a specific circle along the plane of the surface of Earth of radius r, known as the line of position. He does not know his direction from this point. However, by examining a second star, a second radius can be deduced. The navigator now knows he is at one of the points where both the circular functions meet. In the case that there is only one real route, he knows his position, although this is only possible if the radii are parallel. More realistically, he can look up a third star in order to find the intersection between the three circles. This will give him his location to a certain precision based on the precision of his watch altimeter and the divisions on the reference table. So if you know your position, you know where you're going to go.
based on no directions.
Wow. I mean, you only fucking know
Where's north?
exactly where you are based on the
Where's
direction of the stars.
Where is north or south in the direction this example?
Wow. You would only know that using the reference tables that they're talking about. My God.
But I don't know what reference.
Because the
tables are
reference
talking
tables tells you exactly what time the star will be where along
about.
a
Right, and the
latitude.
celestial sphere tells you exactly where every star will be.
Yeah, it's a celestial sphere, which is a flat Earth model. You moron.
Celestial. Okay, you can just insult me. What?
Because that's
How do
true.
you make the celestial sphere work on a flat surface?
Because that's exactly how it works.
That doesn't answer my question.
Well, I mean, 2 seconds ago, Fuzz, you weren't too sure what a flat surface even was. So, right? Are you sure you even know what that is?
What do you mean?
Dude, you thought our position was something with no topography and a disk.
Well, I didn't say necessarily, but even giving
That's exactly what you said verbatim.
I gave you topography.
There's another right. There's another. Forget
flat
topography.
surface
We're talking
with
about
topography.
navigation on. Talking about
You go back.
navigation on the water. Ship is away from GP, right there. See that? Ship is toward GP, so it's showing you that the ship is going in the direction towards the ground position of the star that you're shooting. That's a right triangle with the adjacent being the surface of the horizontal plane. And oh, looky, it looks like a little snow globe full of stars, perhaps a celestial sphere, and a horizontal surface.
Where's the bottom of this celestial?
What?
Below your feet, right?
You know what an astrolabe is? You just like flip it around. It's still at 180 degrees. It's just on the other side, antipode. But
Right.
now you got two flat planes instead of one. Now you got two flat planes instead of one, you genius.
Stupid.
Anyway, I'm hot and I gotta do some shit, guys.
I don't see two poles on that. I just see one. I mean, there are two poles. Like, I don't know what the argument is here.
Not on the ground.
Yeah, in the sky.
Okay, well, have fun trying to cash that into the ground. So.
I mean, in reality, yes, there are two poles in the ground. But in your example,
Not. You haven't determined that, so
can't really say that north is
Show it.
south could be the center too.
I don't know why you keep saying that. Why you're making an argument for something you don't agree with. You don't. I asked you like, why do you say that? Like, oh, I don't believe it. I'm just saying it. Like, you're just being difficult. We already
I'm
covered
just
that.
trying to explain why.
Yeah, I was just talking about flipping.
That's
I was just
example.
talking about flipping the astrolabe. But anyway, it, it just depends on your reference book. So obviously, when you travel, you're going to be using whatever stars that are visible, but you're still going to be on the ground. The stars are still going to be above you. See, when I'm talking, I don't have to actually make any additional claims. I'm like, okay, yeah, the stars are up there, and you're like, well, they're antipode. Like, how do you know that? You're gonna just beg the question.
I mean, you can see that they're across from each other if you're on the equator. You can see essentially both poles or both sets of circumpolar stars.
What?
On the equator.
You keep flip-flopping back and forth. Like, I don't know if you're doing it intentionally or not, but you keep jumping back and forth between. You see, you're rumpusing me, brother. You have the floor to speak. You haven't been muted. So why do you feel the need to like chime in when I'm rebutting? No,
I mean,
I'll let you get it out. Go ahead, get it out.
I just want an answer.
So while I'm trying to answer you is the time to interrupt. Come on, dude.
All right. I mean, let's hear it.
Oh, go ahead, get it all out. I don't want to be interrupted.
I mean, I've already asked my question. You know what the question?
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're flip-flopping back and forth between the sky and the ground. We're trying to help you focus on the ground because that's what we're trying to prove. Okay, so you gotta make sure you're being specific when you say, well, you can see both poles. You need to be specific there because what you keep doing is jumping back between the celestial poles and then the terrestrial poles, if you want to call it that. And you're not being clear about that. So
They're the same thing. The celestial poles are projection of the terrestrial poles. You get that? I mean,
well, Jemsy went over with you. He said there was multiple south poles. So which?
no, I'm talking about the celestial south pole. There are no multiple celestial south poles. There is one.
This is where you're doing the whole flip-flopping back and forth between the
I'm
sky
not
and the
flip-flopping.
ground.
There's one celestial south pole.
That's the sky.
Yeah, and there's one geographic south pole.
Okay. So when you say, well, you can see both poles, now what are you? Are you talking about the sky or the ground?
You see both celestial poles from the equator.
Okay, there you go. Be a little more specific. All right, now I have something for you as well.
Okay.
So maybe this will help you finally understand, because even my boy Wolfgang in the chat's like he still can't be on this. But let's say, because if you were talking about the center of a sphere, in terms of the surface, you could say that any one point on the surface of the sphere could be considered the center. But if we were to look at the quote center of the sphere, right, that people typically think of it, they're looking at like the inside, right, towards the inward part.
Right.
So could I swap it out, as you were saying, and say, well, no, that's outward, and everything inward is outside of that? Is that something? Would that work for you? Why not just flip it? Why not just flip it? Because like, here's the thing, like, in terms of like, you want to compare the flat or whatever. There's no inward or outward. Well, I might need to adjust that statement a little bit, because say on an island you could quote go inward or outward, but in terms of the globe, you have inward towards the center and then outward away from the central point. You following so far?
Right.
Okay, so but if I flipped it around, kind of the way you were doing it, like, well, let's just call south the center, could I say that the center of the Earth is outward, and then we were going to go inward away from that central point? Is that something you would go along with?
If you were to go inward, outward.
Remember how you said that you kept taking my example with the central point being north, and you kept flipping, and you're like, well, let's just call south the center. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm trying to help you understand how goofy that is to some degree. So let's take this in the idea, instead of north or south, let's take the idea of inward or outward. So I would say personally that the center of a sphere, you would go inward to reach that point. And then going away from that point leads you outward. So could we flip it around like you kept trying to do? Can we flip it around and say, let's go outward towards the center?
Changing what it's called.
Yeah, it doesn't really work, does it?
Well, it does.
You're just being difficult on purpose. You're just being difficult on purpose. You're intentionally being thick and difficult for no reason. Clearly, you don't go inward towards the out. Like you don't go outward towards the center.
So why is it one way and not the other?
Because then you'd have to redefine the word as you just said. You'd have to literally change what the words mean to have it work.
Like, not a correct analogy.
No, because it doesn't make sense in reality. Clearly, you don't go outwards to the center, and you don't go south to the center either. So, and you already understand that you already understand that our position involves one pole. You kept trying to flip it upside down and say, well, south could be the center too. So you already understand, with that being said, that there is only necessity for one pole. So let's shake hands and move on past that point. I'm not sure why you're being difficult on purpose.
But you need to have two poles.
No, you don't. You just
But you haven't explained why you don't.
Okay, all right. Let's go back to this center of the sphere. Is there a? Okay, so we have the central point, right?
Okay.
Would you agree? Okay. What do you want to call anything that's not the central point? You want to call it outside or outward, or what do you want to call that?
Let's call it north.
No, we're not going to call it north because we're talking about inward or outward. We're not talking about cardinal direction,
Okay,
unless you want to
call it outward.
Okay, so we've got that central point. Can we flip it around
Flip what around?
and go outward towards the center?
You can go towards the center.
Because listen, there's only one center, right? So you understand that there's only one center who would be a location, a point, somewhere you can hit X marks the spot of a sphere.
There's only one center
Yes.
of the sphere? Like,
Whoa,
like on the-
is
on the
there
surface of the
multiple
sphere?
center? No, dude. Oh my god, you're so thick. You're so dumb. You're not even paying attention.
Clarification here.
I've already made the clarification. I said on the surface, you can consider any point the center of the surface, but I'm talking about the center on the inside, if you will.
What does that have to do with?
Are you tracking? Holy moly, bro! This is the tap dancing shoes I'm talking about. Because you keep asking, how can there only be one? Listen. I want you to at least understand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about celestial navigation. I'm trying to help you understand what you're saying is silly. All right? So we've got that center of the sphere, okay? That's a location, a spot, if you will. Would you agree?
Okay. This is just an example, right?
Right, I mean, in the globe, they call it the core, right?
Sure.
Okay. So how come there's only one center? How come there aren't multiple centers? Or how come I can't go outwards to another spot that's a center? You understand that there's only one center, right?
Yeah, the center is all equidistant.
Yeah. So if you just were to take kind of like cut out the sphere part, you're still left with the same idea. You've got that one center, and then anywhere that's not the center is not the center. So we're just applying directions to it now. North and south is outward, or you could say inward and outward. But there's only one location that's quote the center or quote the north. You don't flip it upside down and go, well, actually the center is outward, and we go outward to reach that inward spot. Like, so you're just you're being thick and difficult this whole time.
Well, this is difficult for you guys. It seems like.
It's not for me. No, this is really easy. I'm not sure how you're not able to figure this out.
I just don't know. How do you know that the center is north, not south?
Bro. How do you know that the center of the Earth is not the outward side of the Earth?
Can I just ask?
Like that's what you're.
Fuzzball?
Okay.
No,
Go ahead.
Can I just ask a question quickly? Fuzzball, because you've been on this point for like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something. So is this an argument about the shape of the Earth, or is this argument that you're making unrelated to the shape of the Earth?
It's about navigating the Earth.
Is it related to the shape of the Earth and it being a globe?
Sure, it's related to the shape of the Earth.
Sorry, you're a bit quiet on your mic. Are you able to get like closer to your mic or turn up the volume on your mic slightly?
Yeah, I can turn it up a bit.
Yeah, because you're a little bit difficult to
I
hear.
do have you on 200%, by the way.
Yeah, I've got you turned up as well, and it's still quite quiet. So I'm just trying to understand: are you making an argument in relation to the Earth being a globe, or is this unrelated to the claim that the Earth is a globe?
It's related to the shape of the Earth, yes.
All right, so it's a claim that the Earth is a globe.
I have not made any claims. I'm asking you how.
So So it's not a claim that the Earth is a globe.
No.
Right. Okay. Well, what we're talking about here really is the claim that the Earth is a globe, like a spinning ball. Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a claim, but okay.
Well, it is a claim because we all experience flat and motionless Earth, don't we?
I mean, I experience a flat and motionless train car when I'm in a train.
Bro,
But
take the tap dancing shoes
when
off.
you go to the beach, right? You experience a flat horizon and a motionless beach. Yeah.
I can say flat, and the fact that there is a horizon means that it can't be just linear.
Wrong.
Right. No. Hold on. I'm saying when you go to the beach and you look out at the horizon, we see a horizontal line and we experience a motionless surface. Yeah?
I mean, how much?
Fuzz, take the tap dancing shoes off. This is not painful. He's simply asking you, do you experience movement, rotation, any type of traveling, any movement whatsoever? You have to, everyone in this panel all experiences the exact same Earth as you. So we're sitting here watching you tap dance around a very basic, simple question. Even the most hardcore globe earthers will admit the truth. Hold on, I'm not done. We'll admit the truth. What we all experience is the same. So stop tap dancing, just answer the question. We all know the answer, you just don't want to say it. And it's not going to debunk you or anything by admitting the truth. We all experience the same Earth as you. So you can't sit here and say, well, no, I experience something different. You 100% do not. So just answer the question and be honest.
We don't experience the motion of the Earth.
There you go.
So you experience the motionless Earth.
We don't experience the force from the motion of the Earth.
Right. But what I'm saying is, it's a claim, right? If we go out and we experience a flat horizon, a motionless Earth, then when someone says, well, it's not actually flat, it's curved, and it's not actually motionless, it's in motion, those are claims, yeah?
Yeah, and there's evidence for them.
Right, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So what is the evidence for those claims? Let's start with curvature. What's the evidence for curvature?
Like, I asked a simple question. and I still haven't got an answer. Like you guys,
No, now's your turn.
bro.
Now's your turn to answer some
Yeah,
questions.
why is it,
bro.
how is it my turn? I haven't even gotten one
This
answer.
isn't an interview.
Because
This is
we're
not an
I haven't
interview.
gotten
establishing.
one answer.
We're
I got I don't
establishing.
know, and I
You're,
got.
excuse me. This isn't an interview, so stop pretending like you're here with just asking questions. And I have no
You
claims.
guys are.
That's false. No, excuse me. That's false. You clearly have a lot of claims. You're just masking them behind fake questions. Now's your turn to answer some questions. All right.
Yeah, you
So-
said your argument wasn't related to, or wasn't a claim that the Earth is a ball, but I reminded you that that's what is being discussed here. We're discussing the claim that the Earth is a spinning ball,
I mean, we can
and
switch
you
that
just
conversation,
agreed. We've
but
just
that's not what the
agreed.
conversation was.
Stop interrupting.
Yeah, that is the conversation. That is the conversation. So you've agreed that it is a claim that the Earth is a spinning ball, and you've said, okay, but there's evidence for the claim that it's a spinning ball. So I'm asking, okay, what is the evidence then? You've just said there is evidence, so it wouldn't be very hard for you just to verbalize what you believe that evidence is, surely.
Spinning. You got mechanical gyroscopes. You got Foucault's pendulum.
Okay.
Okay, what
Well,
else?
do you want to start with the motion of the Earth or the curvature of the Earth? I'll let you decide.
I honestly just wanted to talk about celestial navigation, but you guys want to keep changing the subject.
No. This is the subject of the server, though. We're here to talk about a specific topic, which is the claim that the Earth is a globe.
I had a specific topic that I wanted to talk about, and you guys don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
so-
but you said it was unrelated to the claim that the Earth is a globe. But we're interested in the claim that the Earth is a globe.
Well, I didn't make a claim that the Earth is a globe. I want to talk about celestial
Right.
navigation.
Okay. So you don't claim that Earth is a globe.
No, I don't claim that. I know that.
Is it
Oh,
just-
okay. You know that. Okay. So how do you know that? How do you know that? Because you just agreed that we experience a flat and motionless Earth. So how do you know that experience is wrong?
I just gave you two examples. I mean, what are you looking
Well,
for?
okay. Pick your best one. What's your best one? You said you know. I know it's a spinning ball. So I don't experience it. What is it?
Best one is a photograph.
Say that again.
My best one is a photograph.
What? A photograph.
Yeah, a photograph.
What photo? A photograph from who? From where?
This is the best thing, or we're gonna start with the best thing because I don't want you to just throw it out 2 seconds later. Let's start with the best thing that you have, and let's go from there. What's the number one thing?
Well, he
Because I
said
don't
a
want to address
photograph is
it.
the best
I don't want
thing.
to have to
He did
address
say-
it, and then you throw it out.
he did-
That's what's gonna happen.
He did say the photograph is the best thing.
My number
Didn't
one
you?
thing, well, of Earth being a globe. My number one thing of testing that is celestial navigation.
No, you just said the. No, you just said the best thing. You said you know it's a globe. You said the best thing is a photograph. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. What photograph? From who? Where did they take it from?
To Himawari 8.
The Himawari 8.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
one.
So
There's
did you
thousands.
verify which photo in particular are you talking about? And are those actual photos or are they composites?
They take red, green, blue composites every 10 minutes.
Composites. So it's sent back to a computer
No,
and then it's
no,
digitized
computer.
and put back in. No?
You
sure about that?
Your eyes combine red, green, and blue. You knew that, right?
Right, but you're saying they're composite images. They're not. It's not just like a photograph lens taking one
It's a
photo of
true-
the entire Earth.
Yeah, it's a true representation of what we see, though, right? I mean,
No, you
No,
don't.
no,
see
you don't see that. You read the-
you don't see in red, green, and blue.
No. You don't see that in reality. That image that you're being shown, you definitely don't see that in reality.
So what? This is not reality.
That's the whole point, is to test it and see if it is. It doesn't, sure as hell doesn't match reality. So,
Why is it not?
well, you said it's a
Like-
true representation. So we have to go into reality to see if the representation even slightly matches.
Well, that's what a camera does. It combines red, green, and blue, and it makes one image. That's
On a
composite.
camera.
Yeah, there's a camera on Himawari 8.
No, there's not.
So your argument is just denial.
No, there's a reason why there's no cameras in a location that doesn't exist. You can't put a camera into Narnia and take pictures of reality. So, no, there's no cameras where you think there are.
Did it exist when it was on the Earth? Before it was sent
What?
into this
You
place that
can't
doesn't
send
exist?
things to Narnia, brother. So,
But where did it go then?
and either way, what they're showing you is curved lakes and curved oceans, and you go into reality, and there's no curved oceans there. That's what you test for.
I've already seen these videos.
I even don't know what video you. Okay, brother. This is what's funny. Is like 30 minutes ago, you were telling us that our position was a plane with no curve, no topography whatsoever, and then you're saying, "Oh, I saw all those videos."
I gave you the
How have you
topography.
seen all those videos and you don't know what our position is?
I gave you the topography.
No, you don't know, sir. You don't know what our position is. Clearly.
Well, I just want to know.
So,
Okay,
but then you say, "Oh, I've watched all the videos."
Based on your position, whatever it is.
You don't know what our position is.
You
So,
told me north was in the center. That was your position.
no, listen, no, excuse me. I was trying to help you understand. This all started from me saying in the chat that you don't need two poles. And I gave an example of why. I never said that that was the layout of the Earth or any of that stuff. You interpreted that incorrectly. So
north is not the
you
center.
don't know what our position is. So let's just make sure that's clear. Like,
well, I've been asking for your
so
position
when you
this
say,
entire
well, then
time.
you say, "Oh, I've seen all your videos," when I haven't even really brought up what it is.
Clearly, I'm asking all
What
of you. I
videos are
came
you talking
to a
about?
flat Earth server to ask you how you find your cardinal directions.
With a compass.
Not a compass.
Oh no.
Before compasses.
These are the
What was
double
that?
standards I'm talking about. He's like, but you can't use the
We
compass.
talked about compasses and you said you were wrong. You said monopoles do not exist. You told me you can't have magnetic field with only one pole. So we went back to celestial navigation and I still don't have an answer for you.
Elijah answered you. Wolfgang answered you. Several
Said you
people
didn't know
answered
because he's never been to the south.
Okay, but you also you went through
Again,
your
Fuzz.
And I don't know is great.
Fuzz, Wolfgang pointed out to you that this argument you're making, you admitted it's not related to the shape of the Earth, the nature of the ground, so it's irrelevant.
Navigating the ground has nothing to do with the shape of the ground.
You admitted it to Wolfgang not 5 minutes ago, so are you
Did I?
rolling back on that now?
Navigating the ground it doesn't work. Is that what I said?
He asked you, is this in relation to the claim that the Earth is a sphere? And you said no.
Well, because I didn't make a claim that the Earth is a sphere.
Yeah, but that's what this server's about, the claim that the Earth is a sphere.
Well, that's not.
And thus the ground must be curving and to conform with the dimensions given. This is what the server's about.
I came in. Well, I was in the cognitive dissonance channel, and we were talking about.
I can see why.
Then you moved me here so you could talk about whatever you want to talk about instead of the topic that I brought up, and that's just how this has gone the whole time. You guys
No,
want to talk
come on,
about,
don't be dishonest. Let's not be dishonest.
No,
here,
I'm not being.
because,
That's what happened.
well, you are. That's not what happened, and I'll detail what's happened because that was the whole reason you even joined the VCs. I asked you to clear up some stuff about direction. So we're not here just talking about whatever we want to talk about. We're trying to. We spend. And then we're being interrupted again. Oh, go ahead, brother. Get it all out of your system because I want to say stuff too.
Directions.
That's your question. All right, we'll put a pin on that. We'll come back because I want to detail why you're here because you just lied to the panel here. So
I'm not sure how celestial navigation gives you your directions anyways, Fuzz.
Why not?
How would it? You claim there's two poles.
Because it's a projection of our surface.
No, but we're talking about from the beginning of time, right? How did we initially come to get our cardinal directions?
We use the stars.
So why would Polaris be north versus being south if they're both symmetrical?
It's just whatever label you put on it. You can call it south. Just like you can call
So is it south?
Is what south?
We derived our directions when we came across compasses. We have magnetic north. Everything opposite 180 degrees from north is south.
Right, because the compass aligns with the magnetic field, which has two poles.
Yes, the magnetic north. There's no magnetic south.
Yes, there is.
Can you show me this?
Can you show me a monopole?
You just made a claim there's a magnetic south. Can you show me any compass, any device tracking to the
Please.
magnetic south?
There's compasses
Stop
that
tap dancing.
But yeah, can you show that, please?
You understand how a compass works? It aligns
No,
with the
this is
north
this is
and
the
south.
tap dancing. This is the tap dancing. You
No,
already
I'm
said
not
there's
tap
a example. He asked you to
I
show
don't think
him.
you
so
understand
go
how
ahead,
compass works.
back up what you were saying. Stop asking him questions. Back up what you just said.
I had one question.
No. You made a claim, and he asked you to back it up. So now we're waiting for you to
I
back up
did
the
not
claim.
make a claim. What
Okay.
is my claim?
Well, dude, this is this is painful because we're all here listening to you. This is all recorded, and you're just tap dancing blatantly.
Yeah,
You
it's
say
recorded.
something,
You can go back.
we say, hey, going back up. You said, what did I just say, bro? Stop tap dancing. Take the shoes off. Just answer the question. You know what you just said. So back it
That
up.
there's a magnetic south pole.
Yeah. So now that you remember, we're having to twist your arm to remember the words you just said 3 minutes ago. So go ahead and back that up for us, please.
I mean, a compass. A compass aligns with two poles. That's what a compass does.
You're just repeating the claim. So you want to support
I'm
that?
not repeating the claim. That is what a compass does. It does
Do you have a
not point in
demonstration of
one
this?
direction. It points to both directions simultaneously because we have a magnetic field. And you admitted earlier, you even said monopoles do not exist. So is it a
Who said that? Creation Bear or Clement said that?
I looked up whether there was a magnet with one pole. So that's not necessarily
So
the answer to the question,
is
though.
the conclusion that there are three poles?
No. See, this is you're doing the tap dancing
What?
again. You made a claim, so we're asking you to back it up. You know, don't press
I
me
didn't
on
make a
whether there's a
claim.
third. Yes, you did. This is what happens. Oh, I meant you. This is the formula. Makes claim, gets asked to support the claim, says I never made the claim. Then you ask what, like, dude, this is painful.
Magnets having two poles is not a claim.
No, you claim that the Earth has a south magnetic pole.
Every magnetic field has a north and south pole.
Yeah,
that a
we don't live on a 2D Earth. There is ground, there is more beneath us, beneath our feet. How much more? I can't make a claim to it.
And this is besides celestial navigation. This is not how you would find north. Because the magnetic poles are not on top of the geographic poles. They're offset.
But again, is this in relation to the claim that the Earth is a globe or not?
Yeah, it's related to it, sure.
So this demonstrates the ground to be curving in nature, right? Is that what you're saying?
This is not an example of the ground curving necessarily.
Okay, well, we're here for evidence that the ground is curving.
Well, I'm here to understand how you find your cardinal direction.
But my question back to you is, how can you possibly have a sphere that has no curvature?
I never said that there would
Because
be.
it really doesn't matter. Whatever we've been told in our life does not work. And what we think in our conceptions in our mind of each model, right? It's not relevant at all. If the ground is not curving, you do not have a sphere. So it doesn't matter what you've been told about what can and can't work. So we need evidence to the claim that the ground is curving at a rate in conforming with a 3959 mile radius.
Okay, so does it matter that there are two celestial poles?
That's a claim being made to you. Have you verified it for yourself?
Yeah, I mean you can.
Have you been to the south?
Yeah.
You've been to the south. You've been to Antarctica. You've verified this.
No, I've not been in Antarctica.
No, so it's a claim. So it's
Have you been to the
irrelevant.
North Pole?
No, I haven't.
So how do you know that the North Pole is the center?
Well, we have compasses
Notice how no one here is making that claim.
direct to
Oh,
the
you
north.
made- you made it wrong.
We don't have any device that directs to the south.
Creation Bear made a drawing where north is at the
Oh,
south.
hold on.
I don't know what CB
Remember, brother. Like
drew
you
or
gotta
claimed. I wasn't here.
focus. You gotta focus because I was trying to help you understand how it would work without any curvature. I never said that was the Earth or anything. You took it and ran with it and said, "Oh, so it must be a disc then." All these
I
crazy
wanted
things
to.
I never
I
said.
gave you a counterexample that was
Yes, you
just as valid
did.
as yours.
No. You're not focusing. That example, I'll post it in the chat, was just to help you understand directions without a globe. It wasn't making any claims of how the Earth is or it should be or any of those things. So you really got to pay attention. You're struggling with that.
So you draw
Take the
something
tap
like
dancing
this.
shoes off. Take the tap dancing shoes off.
Talking
I
about
specifically said in the chat this was just an example of a room with a pole down the center, blah, blah, blah. I can't make it more clear. So you can't tell obvious that, oh, well, he said the Earth is like this. No, I never said that. So you got to...
What was this in relation to circumnavigation?
Yeah, he was saying, well, there has to be two poles. I'm saying, no, there doesn't have to be two poles. Just like there's not two centers of the Earth. Or a center and then a center out there. There's only one center.
But there's one axis of rotation though, right?
What are you talking about?
A
How do
spinning
you
sphere has
how do you jump to rotation from this? Complete non sequitur.
What do you mean?
You're tap dancing, bro.
We're talking about the stars moving and geometry. The sphere-
Yes, you're right. The stars move. The Earth doesn't. What you experienced.
So how do you know where north is? When you can know
With a
there's
compass.
without a compass.
I don't care where north is.
You don't care where north is. You care where
Yeah.
south is.
What difference does it make to the nature of the ground?
I mean, you need to be able to navigate the ground, right?
Well, it can just start walking in directions.
And we could, but you'd get lost.
What direction though?
Yeah, but that's you putting like an outcome on it that I have to get somewhere successfully. What's it got to
Well,
do
you
with the
would want
nature
to,
of
wouldn't
the
you?
ground?
Don't you want to get somewhere successfully if you want to go somewhere?
We're not. This isn't the how to get to from point A to point B server. This is the what is the surface of the Earth doing server? Is it doing this or that? There's only two options here. So, well, but how do you navigate? Well, if your point is that cell nav only works on a globe, then you might have to make a case that the Earth is a globe first, and you're going to need curvature for that.
If you can make a model,
I mean, are you of the crazy
Already
fucking mind that you can't navigate a plane? It would all fall to fucking pieces because we're on a plane. We'll never know where we're trying to get to. We'll never figure. Are you of that mind? Because that's insane.
Okay.
I don't know why you ask how do we navigate,
Bruh.
as if in your mind, flat Earth, it's not your reality, of course. So you think if it was a reality, the humans on that would just be fucking baffled for figuring things out, coming up with systems to navigate. I don't understand why you're
What systems do they use?
so adamant about this.
What systems did they use 10,000 years ago before the invention of the compass?
No, they use the stars.
Right, they used the stars.
And what?
And the stars have two poles.
They didn't think it was a globe back then.
No, you're just asserting there's two poles.
They could have been any shape, but they.
Listen, that's where you're getting this all wrong. We're not
Well,
even.
this
talking
is
about-
where we want to go, Fuzz. You are making a claim to the nature of the ground, to the shape of the Earth. You can deny that you are, but you are. So,
just
what's your evidence
wanna-
that the surface of the Earth is curving?
Crickets.
Isn't going anywhere.
Crickets.
If you guys want to keep changing the topic, then yeah.
It's not that we're not changing.
It's the
That is
topic,
changing the
Fuzz.
topic.
You keep saying that, but brother, this is the
I
only.
know you're desperate to
For every
cope here, but
I'm not
stop being so disingenuous, Fuzz.
And like, that's not the point. Yes, it's the entire point. We brought up the surface, and you're like, oh, that's not the point. It is the entire point of this whole and freaking server why we're here in the first place. You can't keep saying, oh, well, that's not what we're here for. It is.
Yeah, that's the irony. Every single time you say that,
I want to know how you guys navigate. And if
every single time you say that's not the point, that's actually you avoiding the point of this entire server and why everybody's here.
We can hear the clickety clack from your tap dancing shoes, dude.
Just quickly clarify with Fuzzball, because I got cut off earlier. Fuzzball, can you verify that the images from the Himawari are true and real?
Hell no!
like hypothetically, yeah, you can.
No. In reality, can you verify?
Sure, I can apply for a job at JAXA. I can.
Bruh.
The receiver.
Until you do all that, you can't.
A job
information.
A job there for
Right.
a
Okay.
globe.
So you can't. So as you sit right now, you cannot verify. So is there any evidence or proof of the globe can verify?
Well, I mean, I gave you
He said a job there for a globe.
You gave us celestial navigation, which you told us you use a straight line out from the observer, i.e. a horizontal line, horizontal being parallel to the plane of the horizon. So where did you get a globe in that?
You'd be begging the question on traveling over a flat surface and assuming that that's a curved surface, but I'm asking how you verify that it's a curved surface you're traveling over.
Keyword verification. Keyword verify.
How do you verify that in reality? The horizon's flat, so it's curved. Okay. How do we verify the surface is curved? Because the water all looks flat, horizon looks flat, but you're saying it's curved.
Things disappear at the horizon, and they don't disappear at the vanishing point.
Okay, so some things appear to disappear bottom up on the flat horizon. You're saying that's the proof of the curve. Is that right?
Sure, that's a proof. That's not the proof, but like.
Is there any other possible way that things? Is there any other possible way that things could appear to disappear bottom up that isn't due to physical curvature? Could that happen through perspective, for example, or some optical phenomena?
Perspective would cause things to disappear at the vanishing point. That's what perspective would do.
So things can't disappear bottom up unless they're going over a physical curve. That's your claim?
Sure.
Yeah. So if we look at live stream voice text, you in live stream voice text? See this meme I just posted? Guy dragging a coin across the table.
He's below the table.
Okay, he's below the table. So when he zooms in to the end of the table,
the surface of the earth.
So when he zooms into the end of the table, how is he able to see the coin if it's below the table?
Wait, how is he able to see the coin?
Yeah, see the zoom?
Okay.
See the coin? See the coin at the end of the table?
Yeah.
Yeah? So how can he see that coin at the end of the table if the camera's below the table?
So he can see the coin. So he's like, okay, like at the level of the table.
He's not
Okay,
under.
so then why did the coin disappear? So then why did the coin disappear bottom up to the level of the table?
It didn't disappear because you can still see it.
Yes, it did. You can't see it. What are you talking about, dude?
Look at coin 2. First gift.
That's the whole point. You can't see
bottom
it.
up. You see it disappear bottom up on the first gift as it moves away. Yeah?
It didn't go up. It didn't go below the table, did it?
That's the whole point. Ding dong.
Yeah. So things can optically disappear bottom up without there being curve or a physical obstruction.
Bottom up.
Bro, it's
Well, look at coin 2, the meme. Look at the first GIF I posted. As he drags the coin away, it disappears bottom up. Yeah.
Well, he zooms in and it didn't disappear.
Oh my god, you're so thick. Fuzz.
It has apparently disappeared, Fuzz. It's not physically disappeared, it's apparently disappeared. That's the whole point. When you watch a boat go over the horizon, you think it's going below the curve, or it's being obscured by the curve. It's not. No such thing is taking place in reality. It's apparently disappeared, but it's still physically in your line of sight.
It didn't disappear if you can still see it.
No, it literally, that's the whole point, bro. When you're standing at the shore and you say, well, look, the boat's gone, it's now disappeared. Then you whip out your camera and zoom in, there it is. But that's the whole point. It hasn't actually gone down below the horizon, as you say. That's the whole point of the coin video. They're saying, look, it's disappeared bottom up. Yeah, that's the whole point.
So because we can show that objects can appear optically to disappear bottom up on a flat surface, that means when you claim, oh, because I'm seeing an object disappearing bottom up, it must be a curved surface, that's incorrect.
So why doesn't it disappear at the vanishing point instead of bottom up?
What are you talking about?
There's different conditions each day, Fuzz. Conditions are always changing. Gonna let you view further or closer or further. So
why doesn't it shrink into a dot?
We don't even need to go into it. We only need to demonstrate that we can observe objects to appear optically to sink bottom up on a flat surface to prove that phenomena is not singular to a curved surface. That's it. Because that was your claim. You said, well, if I want to prove it, I could just look at boats disappearing bottom up. Nope, because that happens on a flat surface. So what else verify the curve?
On a flat surface?
Sorry, Fuzz, don't tell us what it should or should be doing on a flat surface. 30 minutes ago, you didn't know what our position was. So you can't say, well, it should do this, it should do that. You don't know that.
That's linear.
We've just shown you I've just shown you what it'll do on a flat surface with the coin. It'll appear to disappear bottom up, and then when you zoom into it at the end, you can resolve it again because it's not actually gone behind a curve, angular resolution limit.
Well, it didn't appear to disappear if you can just zoom it back.
Yeah, no, but before the zoom, it was out of sight. It was disappeared.
It was too small to see before zooming.
Oh, so it wasn't visible. Okay.
Visible.
So not visible. Not visible on a flat surface. Zoom in, bring it back into view. Exact same thing with the boats. So again, what's your verifiable evidence that the surface is curved?
I mean, that was it. Like, you can still see it.
Yeah, but we've just shown that happens on a flat surface. That happens on a flat surface as well, so it's not proof of a curve. So what else is there?
What did you prove happens on a flat surface?
Objects can appear to sink bottom up.
But it didn't disappear. You can still see it.
It sunk bottom up optically.
Are you looking in the live stream, folks?
Nah, dude, you're just tap dancing at this point.
I can see the whole quarter when he zooms in.
That's the whole.
Yeah, after he zooms in, you fucking
that's
moron.
the point, dude. This guy's. He's just.
Are you just acting stupid or?
Yeah, right.
We've had to twist his arm for every point. This
back it up.
It's like, do you have an inability to carry over what's taking place with the coin in the table to the ocean and boats?
No, I understand it, but
right, yeah. So we've demonstrated here it's not an exclusive phenomenon to a curved surface.
Right.
So you can't
So
just
look,
flat
I'm
out
just taking
say.
the screenshot.
On you go, Will.
Sorry, obvious. Sorry, go on.
No, on you go.
I mean, I'm just showing. I've taken the picture. So, fuzzball, whatever your name is, right? You see that picture that I've just posted?
Yeah.
Do you see the entirety of the coin?
Yeah, if you zoom in, sure.
Oh, answer the question.
Wow.
Answer the question.
Do you in the image I posted? Do you see the entirety of the coin?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay,
we're gonna
one
have to,
Okay, so you're just a liar.
you're
You're
gonna have to
just a
take a
liar
break
then.
for a bit, Fuzz. You've been here for like 3 or 4 hours. You're gonna have to just take a break at this point. You're being dishonest intentionally. And we told you earlier to stop doing that. So I'll give you one more chance. You got till the top
But
of like.
why do you have to? Why are you lying to yourself?
Yeah.
Right? You can obviously see that you cannot see the entirety of the coin. You see about half of it. So why are you lying to yourself?
What does zooming in change?
No. Stop.
Yeah,
Stop
that's
tap
what I
dancing.
thought.
Well,
See, this
Well,
is how we instruct other people, because other people get to hear people like you who just blatantly lie and deny what's being shown, embarrassingly, in order to protect your religion. And this is educating normal people who listen and say, why is he saying he sees the full coin when clearly you can only see about half the coin there? And it's because you're not arguing with logic, reason, or what you see. You're literally just roboting about your emotions and what you believe it has to be. You're saying whatever you think you need to say to protect your religious belief. You're not actually engaging in honest conversation. So, Fuzzball, you're going to have to knock that shit off and start actually being honest with yourself. I assumed you were a child or something, but hearing you on voice, obviously you're a grown adult. So can you engage in an adult conversation, or is that beyond your capacity?
You little weasel.
I was always saying,
Fucking weasel. I can see it in your eyes. You're a fucking bitch.
are we sure he's not yet a child?
Maybe. So, Fuzzball, I'll ask you again. In that image that I just posted 37 minutes past the hour, zoom in if you need to, but on your bifocals, is the entirety of the coin visible in that image?
Yeah.
Stop the cap.
Holy shit, man.
You are just
What?
a liar.
You're gonna have to take a break for a while, Fuzz. Because like, you're just being intentionally dishonest.
Yeah.
Earlier, I called you out like forever ago and said you're being difficult. You're like, no, I'm not.
Back to
Now
the
it's
bin
confirmed.
with you.
It's confirmed. You're being difficult on purpose. So everyone in the panel experiences the same Earth, and we all see the same thing in the chat. Clearly, the coin is not visible.
See, can I point out here, Fuzz, if you were presented with this coin presentation in any other conversation in your life, you would quite easily and happily admit that you see half the coin there. But solely because you're in this debate and the implications move the evidence further for the Earth being flat for you, you deny it. You flat out deny it, and just as Will says, you're just lying and being religious. And I hope you recognize that in yourself, because it's very counterproductive.
Stupid. Well, even if you don't recognize it, I think it was pretty clear for everybody listening.
Yeah, this is what I mean. When
we
you're
could
this
take.
dishonest, I'll make you go through the physical act of lying to yourself. Right? I'll make you look at an image and deny your own eyes, because somewhere deep down, that does something psychologically to you. If you're not going to forget it, it's probably going to make you spiral even harder. You're probably going to turn into one of the worst globe heads ever. But it's like with the Black Swan. If you can get them when they say, oh, the horizon isn't 1.2 miles, even though they see it beyond the second rig, then you say, okay, draw where the horizon is. At the point where you've got them in MS Paint, drawing a line on the middle of the fucking water, because that's what their argument requires. They're going through a physiological act of lying to themselves, and that cuts deep. So, okay, so you're lying about that. That's fine. Let's do another one since I brought it up. Let's look at this image. Okay, actually, let's do this one. Okay, Fuzzball. See this image I just posted? The last image I just posted of oil rigs.
Yeah, what does this have to do with celestial navigation?
See the horizon in the image I just posted. Is it in front of the rigs or behind the rigs? Simple question.
Is the horizon behind the rigs?
Yeah, the horizon's behind the rigs, so the horizon's beyond 10.10 miles, which is platform habitat. Yep.
I haven't measured that.
Well, let's just take it for the sake of this image, that's the distance of those oil markers. It's behind the second oil rig, right?
Come on, Fuzz. There's even 6
So-
pretty pink arrows here helping you out.
But you see that, don't you? You see the horizon beyond the rigs, yeah. So, okay, so that's not possible on the globe that you're arguing for.
Something can't be in front of the horizon.
No, the horizon is supposed to be in front of them according to the size of the ball that you're currently arguing for.
Or what's the refraction or refractive index that day?
Why would that matter?
Because it's going to tell you. I mean, it's going to determine how.
Do you know what refraction is before you continue?
Yes.
It moves. Do you think it moves a geometric horizon behind objects that it's supposed to be in front of? Is that what you think refraction does?
It moves how far you can see.
So does it move
What
a
is
geometric horizon behind physical objects that it's supposed to be in front of?
Yeah.
Okay, could I see a citation for that?
That refractive index will change.
No. A citation for your claim that the geometric horizon will appear behind objects that's actually.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait for that citation. Just let us know when you find it. So let us know when you find that citation. You know what a citation is, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, go
Okay.
get that and we'll wait.
Is this the actual horizon or is this the geometric horizon?
Well, it's
There's
supposed
only
to be a
one
geometric horizon, is it not? Is that not supposed to be the thing that the boats that you were saying are going over?
Well, geometric horizon is just the tangent.
All right. So what were the boats going over that you were just arguing about?
The actual horizon. Where the
What's
sky
that?
meets the ground.
Okay, so not a geometric curve of Earth then.
No.
Hey, welcome to Flat Earth.
What?
That was
you're
easy.
Talking about the actual horizon. No, it wasn't easy.
It was super easy. You just pissed down the back of every person in 2017 that was arguing against us. You're literally arguing against them.
I didn't even want to talk
So
about
that was super easy. They didn't have
Yeah, I
to.
know you didn't.
navigation.
That's right. You
Yeah,
wanted to
obviously you don't
avoid
want
the
to talk
point.
about it.
Well, you guys didn't
I mean,
want to
we
talk
can
about
see
navigation,
why.
so I
We can
can
see why
we
you
can
don't want
discuss
to.
it.
You admitted that even your cell nav doesn't tie back to any shape, so you ripped your own wig off.
Fuzzball,
relate directly to
what
your
comes
talk.
first in house? No, I'm asking him this. What comes first in house construction? The foundation or the roof?
The foundation.
Well done. Right. So understand this. All your claims regarding celestial navigation, that's the roof. We're talking about the foundation. If you don't have the foundation in accordance with how you're claiming celestial navigation works, then it doesn't work like that. So stop trying to pull the conversation back in that direction.
Well,
Yeah,
you guys
and the
can't tell me
foundation
that,
that you're
so
assuming,
that's,
we've just shown you isn't correct because the horizon's beyond the rigs. So your foundation claim is wrong.
Okay, so a cherry-picked photo is your
It's not
proof.
cherry picked. Don't worry.
This is one of hundreds, thousands probably.
There are
You can
thousands
go and make these
black swan
observations
photos
yourself.
every day.
Yeah, it's called.
Yeah,
glamour.
every observation that goes past where the geometric horizon should be is a black swan.
We could only have one, and it would still defeat your entire belief and argument, right? Because your argument said that horizon can only be in front of
my argument.
Yeah, your globe argument, your globe model that you're so married to, that you can't even talk about it, says that the horizon has to be in front of the ring, yet it's behind them. Yeah, it's one example. It's your entire claim.
Which is behind it.
You gotta pay attention, dude. Clean the airwax out of your brain and pay attention.
You already agreed. You already agreed the horizon. You already agreed the horizon's beyond the rigs, right?
Wait, what?
You already agreed the horizon's beyond the rigs.
Yeah, the apparent horizon.
That's the
What other
horizon,
horizon
bro,
is there?
which
That's not the geometric horizon.
Okay,
Where's that?
Where's that? Yeah.
That's just a straight line. Tangent.
No,
Okay.
not what it is. Where is
Show
it?
it to us. Show it to us. Show
Yeah,
the
could you
geometry.
draw? Could you draw on the image where the geometric horizon is?
I'll get you one without
Dig
any.
into
I'll
paint.
get you just a blank version. You can draw it for us here.
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is
think it's in
pin,
the image. I think it's in his imagination.
pin the horizon on the imaginary globe. That's a fun game.
You're
So let's do a draw the horizon game. You're gonna tell us, you're gonna show us where this geometric horizon is,
Yep, I put
according to you.
an image there in the chat. So I want you to draw a line, put an arrow or whatever. You should be able to post that.
Well, I
Jimsy
don't know
gave
what
you image
level it
frames.
is, so I can't.
Excuse me?
What's level?
Well, that's not the question. Take the tap dancing shoes off. We're just asking you. You claim there's a geometric horizon, so where is it?
Geometric horizon.
Where is
where's
the
the
geometric
geometric
horizon in
horizon?
this image?
I need to know what level it is.
Put an arrow on the image, please. We're not going to tap dance with you. You got like 30
I
seconds
can't
to figure
just
this out.
look at an image and say that's level.
Where's
how
the
can you say
where's
that
the
it's not
apparent
geometric
horizon in
horizon?
this image?
Where
Fuzz.
the Earth, where the sky meets the Earth.
Yeah, where's the
Right, but you're
apparent
saying
horizon?
there's another one. Fuzzball, you're claiming there's another horizon in this image. Why are you claiming that? Because the power of globe compels you.
Come on,
Why are
Fuzzball. Where's this other horizon?
Why are you saying there's another horizon in this
Did he dip or did he get
Oh, he
disconnected?
dipped. Yeah, man. Fuck.
You little weasel. Look at you, you little fucking weasel. I
Poor
can see
guy.
it in your eyes. You're a fucking bitch.
I think my main issue is that people come in here and they say, I have no claims. The earth is a globe because of all, A, B, and C. Those are claims.
Yeah, because I learned it
Okay.
before my ABCs.
To opponents in quick fashion, and Curtis Humberton has walked out of the ring. Wait, what? I cannot believe it. I've never seen this before. He walked out of the ring. He's not fighting this guy. He walked out of the ring. I've never seen this before in my life. Curtis Humberton has walked out of the ring.
Yeah, he comes in saying, "Oh, I'm not making any claims. I'm not claiming the Earth's a globe." And then 10 seconds later, I know the Earth.
Pointless to have a combo with people who can't navigate. Jesus.
Able to celestially navigate Discord. And you have to assume it's the globe while you do it, or you're not worth his time. What a freak show. See him denying that the coin was half below.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. That was a great demonstration for the audience.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I was probably killing the panel, but with how it started off. But it's how the whole topic started. Sorry.
Fuck, he left the server and everything.
No way.
What a fucking loser, man.
He's still in the server, I think.
Nah, he left.
He's just on BC Verified.
Oh, did someone take it away? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he's still on the server. Why did he take his VC away?
Because it can't just run into the chat and start skanking up the chat just after leaving the call.
Yeah, just tell him not to if he doesn't cope diss him, you know? But maybe he wants to jump back in here and tell us the coin is fully visible.
Well, all he's going to do if he jumps back in is bury the globe, so might as well allow him to.
I think with people that lie that hard, they do know that something is going on here, you know?
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.